Finally, the Queen has come back to Pallet Town PvP.
Oh, it feels so good.
That is purely for my Shoutcaster companions. Hi everyone, welcome to the second semifinal of this first Gymbreakers cycle of 2023, coming at you live on Pallet Town PvP. I am Final Boss AJ, and if you knew this was a Gymbreakers stream, you knew my face was going to show up here eventually. I am taking control for approximately 100 minutes before I have to dip. This is going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to bring you so many different casters today. It's going to feel like a regional ×2, which is why we have some regional casters here. We'll get to them in a sec, but first, if you're new to this whole Gymbreakers thing, basically think of it as the Pokemon Go World Cup. Countries assemble teams of 8. They do battle in various Silph metas. And we actually have a new format this year where the group stage, if you will, of the World Cup is done in the first meta of a wave, and the playoffs are actually done in the second meta. So all these countries did battle in Ember to determine what playoff bracket they were in. Why Canada's not here because Ember sucks. And then the playoff format was done in Naiad, which if you're in Silph right now, we're going through much better format. Hey, you know I'm gonna slag off the fire meta, so I don't know what else you expect from me, but just so you don't get 2 hours of me bashing Ember and enjoying Naiad, we have, as I said, assembled a crack team of hosts. I'm gonna start clockwise from me with Captain B 2.0, my dear friend who took over the Queen Bees when I left this cycle. Representing the USA, Hurricane Kaz is here. Kaz, welcome in.
Hello, hello. So glad to be back on the Gymbreakers stream and excited to see these battles in Naiad because I too did not really like Ember.
Exactly. The unifying force.
No secrets
the
here.
The unifying force in Pokemon Go, our dislike of Ember. As much as I'm sure the person behind the decks loved Ember, Charizard. But just to get some pro Ember perspectives and to bring that dose of regional talent, as I mentioned, one of the casters from Liverpool gracing us with his presence, the almighty in England when it comes to Pokemon Go PvP organizing, London's finest himself, Adelian is back on Gymbreakers. Adelian, welcome in.
Cheers, thank you very much, AJ. And yeah, I actually quite like Charizard, and so while I had no hand in making the Ember meta, I didn't mind it one bit. Although I did do better with Naiad, so I'm not one to complain. I will take any Silph meta and run with it. But yes, my name's Adelian. Some of you may be vaguely aware of me from the Liverpool Play Pokemon stream, which led to Human Bug being champion and of course falling off his chair, the most iconic part of the stream. That was quality, and I'm also, just to not to leave out the fourth caster as well, we have Rigel Starlight, a very good friend of mine, also from the UK. Callum, if you want to take it away and tell everyone about you.
Thank you very much. So, my name is Callum, or Rigel Starlight, as mentioned. I'm not really very well known. This is the first time I've ever put myself on a proper stream. You may have caught me on one of Matthew Brewer's Chatting Shit episodes. That's where I spend most of my time. But I'm also captain of Team England for Gymbreakers, so a little bit of experience in this format. And I'm also part of a Silph meta team and was somewhat partially responsible for both Ember and Naiad, so very interesting to hear all the slander and praise from AJ today. And I'm first time casting, so I'm really excited to be here, and everyone's been very nice so far, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Callum, I'm not gonna come at you for being a rookie on the scene here. I'm not gonna point out that your audio is mirroring. That's just stuff that happens for rookie broadcasters. That's part of the growing pains. That's fine with it. I am just gonna point out that Canada knocked England out of the Naiad Cup playoffs, so we can just reference that as much as we want today.
Oh, that's how we're gonna start the stream. I see how it is.
It's all right. It's because Callum didn't recruit me. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have changed things for England. And so I'm sure. Go on.
I was also on the bench. That's all I'll say.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that was it. That was
Yeah.
the reason.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely don't want to insinuate that having Matthew Brewer, noted Canadian battler, on our side changed things a little bit, but we also didn't play Matt during the England match, so we couldn't be accused of bias there. Matt did great against Japan, though. Anyway, and enough making Callum welcome on these streams. We have a very, very exciting matchup coming up today. Italy against the USA in the Masters bracket, second semifinal. If you're a Gymbreakers fan, you know how dominant the American side has been since the inception of Gymbreakers. As we look at this bracket here, however, the USA did not win their group. They actually came in second in Group A to Brazil. Ended up drawing California, the USA B team, and thoroughly thumped them. But Italy, also a second place finisher in its group behind France, taking out the top team from Group C, which was India in a surprise. So Italy knocked them out to set up this semifinal match. The winner will face Brazil, who is trying to take over that mantle as the dominant force in Gymbreakers right now. They got by Spain 26-19 in yesterday's semifinal matchup on my PvP Academia, which, you know, it's a Gymbreakers stream, so I was calling that because that's what I do. So yeah, everything to play for on the line here. Italy trying to get that first title in the country's history. The USA trying to set up a grudge match with Brazil in that final, and you can see the lineups here on the side, and between the four of us on screen right now with the North American and the European perspectives, I think we see a lot of names here that we're very familiar with and very confident we'll put on a show today.
Oh,
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely. Go ahead, Kaz.
Oh no, I totally agree. I mean, we recognize a lot of these names not only from Gymbreakers, but now that we all have access to the Play Pokemon tournament streams, these names are very clearly high up on those lists as well. So I cannot wait to see what they do with a special meta outside of the Open Great League.
Yeah. Adelian, I know you can speak to a lot of these Italian names. Again, London's finest on the stream. Very familiar, I'm sure, with a lot of these Italian battlers.
Yes, indeed. I saw quite a few of them either at some of the European Play Pokemon regionals that I've attended over the last couple of months, and indeed the World Championships were in London, which drew a few of them. But yeah, so I certainly recognise C. Leonardo, an individual I've actually met because he was based in the UK for a short period of time. He was actually rank 1 on the Silph leaderboards, I think last season, if memory serves. So very talented player. Aspros Celto, I have had the pleasure of meeting as well. A lot of you watching will also recognize Scarfo99, who is part of the EU Emperor's Silph faction team. Very noteworthy there. And of course, there are many other players on the Italian side that also are very worthy in terms of talent, and I've seen them battle before in a Gymbreaker stream, or indeed just in some other tournament in days past, shall we say. So a lot of talent on the Italian side, but of course, you know, some of the Americans also stand out. But I imagine, while I've met some of them, I'm sure you two, AJ and Kaz, may recognize a few more of those names than I will.
Oh yeah, the American side is loaded. I mean, you look at pair 1, Hot Pocket 777, and Wadaj. I'm gonna call them the MCR pairing because, as Gerard Way once sang, teenagers scare the living shit out of me. And those teenagers are two of the best players in the world. Like this American team is that you can tell by pair 2, where a substitute had to be called in for Doombug 97 paired with Panic 23, and the Americans are just like, hey, let's just get the Toronto regional winner in as a sub, drafting Magic Mason for a battle.
Just a casual.
Yeah, that's how deep this team is. Rise to occasion, one of the legends in grassroots battling. Dre Flames, Palmer is up, and Zero Elite Zero, aka Donuts. It's a loaded American team. They're always near the top for a reason. But this Italy team is gonna be hungry, trying to find success after that group stage performance where they narrowly missed out on top spot, losing that to France on tiebreak. So it's a hungry Italian side. I'm really looking forward to just digging into these matches because Naiad Cup has been a breath of fresh air compared to Ember. And if we just want to refresh people on what Naiad Cup is, it is Psychic, Water, Bug, and Dragon typings with some bans. Obviously, Lantern's not going to pop up here. Abomasnow is not eligible. Should be. But also, in addition to those 4 types, 3 normal types were parachuted in Ingredient, Miltank, and Snorlax. And if you didn't have a Greedent, I mean, you had some options, but we're going to see a lot of Greedent today. I'm going to warn y'all right now.
Greedent is so strong in this meta. It's on both of my teams that I've used, and it's got play against everything, even its strongest counters. The spam on the Squirrel is incredible.
Yeah, and we've noticed some popular lines forming in Naiad. I know yesterday on the Brazil-Spain broadcast, we saw a very popular line, Walrein, Altaria, Greedent. Seems to be the dominant line. Because Altaria obviously loves everything but ice. Walrein, the Altaria counter, Greedent, just beating everything. But so we'll see how these teams are going to use that. Adelian, Rigel Starlight, do you have any thoughts on this meta so far now that you've played it for a couple weeks?
Callum, would you like to go first?
So I've actually been quite uninvolved within the previous few weeks, so I haven't really played the meta as it's evolved. However, I was involved in a lot of the early testing, and first we noticed the Altaria Jellicent core was extremely strong, which is part of the reasoning actually behind the parachuting of the normals to the meta, hence the placement of Miltank and Greedent and Snorlax and such. I found it very interesting in scrims, but obviously that's quite limited, so I'm very excited to see more of it within Gymbreakers, as I was mostly just on the side recording my teammates' battles. So unfortunately, I don't have too much to comment on.
No, that's fair enough. I do like the idea of now with these new Silph metas parachuting certain Pokemon to make metas more balanced. I think it is a good call. It does add to the complexity of a meta, which may be a little bit challenging for new players trying to get in to the Silph tournament setup. However, I think with the right local community leaders who are hosting these tournaments and the right guidance from PvP admins, they can be easily brought in with a little bit of elbow grease and training. Certainly, for example, with Miltank, to having the flexibility to decide whether you go tackle or rollout, and indeed, in particular, whether you have Thunderbolt or Ice Beam for coverage, will give Pokemon like Altaria a bit of a hard time in terms of, do I shield this or not, and add to that level of mind games, risk, and concern about whether you no-shield something. So that's one example. We've talked in the past about we talked earlier about Greedent and which fast move is more appropriate as well, and I think there's arguments for both sides there. So having that fluidity and variation even within the same Pokemon can make for a very interesting and complex meta with a lot of variation for commentators like us to enjoy and chat over.
Exactly. Like I do like my more dynamic meta. I called Ember a very static meta because it was the same team over and over and over again. It's core 4, usually Gligar, usually Minun, and then maybe you get some variation, but other than that, it was just the same. Naiad's been a lot more dynamic, a lot more flexible, and I enjoy that more. And I think, we've been sitting here talking about this for a while, y'all. I think we need to start getting into some battles. I think we need to give the people what they want. So let's just get into this first matchup on... Oh, before we do that, I know y'all are waiting, but you need to know who makes this happen. So let me tell you about Pogo Raiders. Pogo Raiders is a tool online for hosting and joining raids. They've been optimizing and this fully custom raiding organization tool for over a year with over 3,000 raids a day and over 150,000 members. you gotta try the free rating tool. They also have a dedicated community of Pokemon Go players with monthly PvP tournaments that offer cash prizes. And you can find help from some of the best players in the world, along with access to infographics and information about everything upcoming in Pokemon Go. So check them out at pogoraiders.gg or on Discord at discord.gg/pogoraiders. There we go. There we go. We had to pay the bills.
Ready for some actual battles.
Yes. Thank you, Pogo Raiders, for making these battles happen. We're gonna go right into them here with the lovely and talented FishOnAHeater handling things on the back, and one of those teenagers that scares the living bleep out of me is going to be right off the bat here with Dodge drawing 13 Joppy, 37 Kaz, and I know we said Naiad was going to be more dynamic, but I am seeing very similar teams here.
I'm seeing double on the sides of the screen, but that is not a malfunction. They do have one very strong difference, that 13 Giappi has Quag, Buddhist Mudboy, and Dodge has Walrein, as we were just talking about, has become a strong part of many cores in the Naiad meta.
Yeah, and a lot of these Pokemon you're going to see a lot on this stream. Some Naiad standouts. Altaria, you don't need to know about Altaria. Altaria, that dragon flying typing, that bulk, the cotton just reflecting everything off it. It's been a staple in Naiad. Greedent as well has been the preferred normal choice, just with access to Crunch to be able to hit the psychic types like Mew, and Defense Deoxys, who's been the preferred counter user in this meta. And then Shadow Scizor has been a popular choice to core break that line I mentioned, that Altaria, Greedent, Walrein line. Shadow Scizor has emerged as an option, just resisting Tackle, resisting Dragon Breath, resisting Ice, and being able to put the hurt on with Night Slash, Iron Head, like all the damage Scizor can do. It's neutral and it adds up. Yeah. So yeah, this water difference between the two teams. Quagsire, I've seen mentioned as a core breaker as well. I know Callum's friend, Matthew Brewer, very fond of Quagsire as a Naiad option. So we'll have to see how Joppy uses it against Wadage's more base Naiad line here.
I'm excited to get into it. I think we're ready.
I think I'm ready as well, Kaz. So let's do this, girl. Let's see. Oh boy!
Roll on swirl violence.
Greedent action, both running tackle.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, Greedent does have access to two different fast moves, but here we see both of these Greedent preferring the speedier tackle fast move.
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot in the meta now, players preferring that one-turn fast move, being able to, have that flexibility, have that potential one-turn snipe on the dynamics there at the end. This Greedent going to slam the body spam. I'm going to miss that all day today. Spam the body slam. Too many things.
Spam. Let's just simplify it to slam spam.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, the slam spam is continuing here as Greedent action plays to the bitter end here. And we do see a swap on Wadage's side. Both trainers swap. Altaria comes in for Wadage. Shadow Scizor for Giappi. And Scizor going to start going to work here, outpacing Altaria to these Night Slashes.
Yeah, and Scizor doesn't even have to worry about, getting necessarily to that second move, as long as it can spam the damage from the Night Slash, and potentially boost that damage to its fast move as well. That's all it really needs in this matchup against Altaria, since it is resisting the Dragon Breath thanks to its metal typing. It
is resisting those Dragon Breath, Kaz, but Shadow Scizor be squish. Like a lot of bugs in the meta. That Night Slash does take out Altaria, though, so Wadage putting it all on Defense Deoxys here, trying to get the counter down on Shadow Scizor to knock it out, but it is going to have to shield a Night Slash here.
And we'll have to give up that first shield because it does not resist this Night Slash damage.
No, but you can see in the back there for Joppy, that Quagsire is lurking, just waiting to spring its onslaught of moves here. Quagsire coming in, starting to get the energy, and we see the moveset for Wadage here, Psycho Boost and Rock Slide, so it is going to have to be Psycho Boost damage for Wadage here to try and take out this Quagsire. final shield does come up from Joppy on the first Psycho boost, but that Greedent there to reset the debuff. Quagsire not firing the move. It's at 100 energy, just content to farm it down.
The fact of the matter is, no matter which moveset Deoxys has, it's really, in this matchup against Quag, going to rely heavily on that Psycho boost, which unfortunately does debuff Deoxys.
Yeah, and this next Psycho boost here, it got no debuffs on it, so it is going to hit for full impact on this Quagsire, taking it down to the red, and it just gets there before Quag gets the Stone Edge. I think Joppy might have been looking for a catch there, but...
Yeah, even with the debuff.
Oh, but it lives! It lived the debuff! And turned to tackle down and is able to tackle down. The shield is not needed as Joppy picks up the win on the tackle down for Greedent, and we see why their tackle was the preferred move on Greedent in Naiad. You're not going to be able to do that with Bullet Seed. It's not happening.
Yeah, the sneak in the end there, really taking advantage of that timer. It didn't even have to throw that move that Quagsire already had. Right?
Yeah.
Just had to waste some time with the squirrel.
Yeah, and very well done by Joppy, keeping that Quagsire in there, forcing Wadaj to go to that second Psycho boost, and making it palatable for the Greedent to come and counter down. Wadaj not messing around, putting Defense Deoxys in the lead for game 2 against Joppy's Altaria, and getting to use this Rock Slide to its full effect, Kaz.
Even though Altaria does resist the counters from Deoxys, having access to Rock Slide really makes this not so bad of a matchup for this psychic Pokemon.
Yeah, and revealing the Rock Slide here, Joppy knows the Altaria in a little more danger than if it was hurling Thunderbolts. And there we see not a charge move priority event as the Altaria able to get his Dragon Breath in, but will Joppy give up this first shield? No! Gonna let Altaria go and get the farm on Shadow Scizor instead. And you see Wadaj trying to get to a Psycho Boost, cannot get there. And
doesn't get there in time. Able to give that Scizor quite a bit of farm.
Yeah, and a Scizor with energy is a dangerous thing, being able to spam those Night Slashes out. But Greedent, the master of spam in this meta, gonna take this first Night Slash here. Like a champ, Wadaj not giving up the shield just yet. Greedent, very, very bulky Pokemon here, Kaz.
I mean, we do see in the back line that even though, Greedent does, or the Scizor does resist, the body, the normal type moves from the Greedent here, we do see from the back line that his own Altaria does not want to face off against this Scizor, especially, as you said, when it has energy.
No, and we've seen Joppy commit to this core-breaking backline here. Shadow Scizor and Quagsire coming in, building up to the Iron Head, managing to get there before Altaria gets the Dragon Breath off, and the shield comes up from Wadaj.
Does give up that first shield. How to protect this Altaria, especially when you've got Quag in the back to start throwing those stone edges mercilessly.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. I think Altaria can actually tank a Stone Edge here, so Joppy has to be careful. Going to take this first Sky Attack. Quag tanky on its own as well, but the second Sky Attack coming in will get the shield from Joppy, and now it's a race. It's a race for the Quagsire. Can it get to 2 Stone Edges, and will it be enough? That's going to be the question. Here comes the first one, and Wadaj is going to let it go. Just daring this Quagsire to blast Altaria out of the sky, and it can't. It is not enough. Can it Mudshot down? That's going to be the question. Here comes the second Stone Edge. No shield from Wadaj. Putting it on tackle. Greedent. Can Greedent farm down Quagsire here? These tackles adding up. Quagsire is out.
All the way down.
And Scizor goes down as well. Wadaj making the call. Anything Joppy can do, Wadaj can do as well. And Tackle Greedent has already picked up 2 KOs in this matchup. But it is 1-1 between Italy and the USA.
Wadaj put all of his money on that squirrel in that game. And it really paid off there in the end. As you can see, as you were talking about the tackle damage, how fast that can add up, really put Wadaj's squirrel in the lead there.
Tackle Greedent is a menace, and Joppy has had enough going with Defense Deoxys in Game 3. However, Wadaj choosing to lead Altaria and leave Deoxys on the bench this time. Joppy going to go for this Rock Slide as well, just to show that the Rock Slide is present here. And that Altaria does have something to worry about, but we see Shadow Scizor on both sides this time, Kaz.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them realized how strong the potential of that Metal Bug could be. But again, we see this matchup now flipped with the Altaria versus the Deoxys. Both of them pretty thick. Oh, but Wadaj does catch the Rock Slide on the thick Squirrel.
Huge catch here, maybe thinking that Quagsire is still lurking in the back, wanting to keep Altaria for it. And instead, Shadow Scizor comes out to challenge the Squirrel, resisting the tackle damage. But again, as we've seen, Greedent don't care. Greedent will tackle through you because this Squirrel only wants one thing, and it's berries.
Yeah, exactly. And we do see the first Night Slash come through and do quite a bit of neutral damage to the Greedent, but the Greedent's still able to get off spam.
Yeah, and the Body Slam is shielded by Joppy here, giving up that first shield, wanting to keep this Scizor relatively healthy. And now Wadaj does have to make a hard choice here. Do you think that Quagsire is in the back? And what do you bring in? Is choosing the Altaria and just gonna take this Night Slash. Is not shielding. It's all on Scizor.
I don't think it's going to be quite enough, and Altaria able to get to a Sky Attack here. Will it force the second shield from
It
Joppy?
is.
Does want to protect that that bug.
Joppy.
And now we see, just like we started with Squirrel violence, now we get some bug violence. Bug on bug.
This mirror a little more palatable than the Greedent mirror, as both these Pokemon are high octane attackers. And there's the boost for
Joppy.
Joppy
Gets the boost, but has to swap out. Trying to catch the move, doesn't quite make it.
Yeah, a tough call there for Joppy, having to give up the boost. Did get some boosted bullet punches on there to make this a little more palatable for Altaria, but you look at the energy Wadaj has got on his Shadow Scizor. This is going to be a double Iron Head. Altaria's bulky, but I don't think it can handle that onslaught either.
Take two of those.
No, here comes the second one, and it's going to be a race with these bullet punches between the two Scizor. Who can withstand the barrage before the other? But the Night Slash. There's the Night Slash, but Wadaj had the shield. The shield was there for Wadaj, and if that bullet punch goes through, it is enough. And Wadaj is going to pick up the 2-1 win over Joppy. And we are already off to a fire start here, Kaz.
Oh, an incredible matchup there. A really strong knowledge from both players about their energy management and that timer. The swap timer off to the side. Even though sometimes it means sacrificing a boost you might have gotten, it's really important to get off the field and try and catch that move. When you've already used both your shields, your only shield left is a Pokemon.
Yeah, and that is a shame for Joppy. I think if Joppy went straight bullet punch, would have forced the tie and maybe set up a tiebreaker match between him and Wadaj. But going for the Night Slash there, Wadaj had the shield, just an iron grip on that final shield, and able to get the point for the Americans there. So good start for America if they want that rematch against Brazil.
Well, you were saying how thirsty Italy is. I think America's pretty thirsty. Like the USA team is pretty thirsty to prove themselves as well. We got to see how this mixed matchup is going to go.
Yeah, just for the people who weren't aware of what happened in the Ember meta, the USA only went 3-2 in the group stage, lost to Brazil, lost to Belgium in the group stage. Big upset for the Belgian side, and I know Clean Lejeune and Count Xevious on my PvP Academia were thrilled about that result. But we'll see if Joppy can bounce back here against the other member of that MCR duo, Hot Pocket 777. Similar lineup, but this time no Shadow Scizor for Hot Pocket. Instead, going with Quagsire in a double water setup here.
Very, very interesting. I mean, there's there's almost no like grass to worry about in this meta. So having a double water with access to the variety of moves, as well as double access to Earthquake from Walrein and Quagsire, can be really powerful from Hot Pocket.
Now you say there's no grass to worry about in this meta. What if,
I said almost. I said almost.
What if Joppy's Mew is running Grass Knot, my girl?
I said almost. Listen, we all know that Mew is an entire mystery until you see the first few moves, right? You never know what to expect, so it's always probably best to throw up a shield first just in case.
Yeah, and we didn't see Mew in the first battle for Joppy, so we'll see if the Italian battler wants to reveal Mew this time. Maybe as a counter for Defense Deoxys, maybe as a counter for Walrein.
I mean, I do think Mew has a lot of potential from Hot Pocket. I mean, it has to watch out from that Shadow Scissor, which we just saw do so much damage from Joppy. But, I mean, Mew has a lot of really great potential against the rest of Joppy's team, except maybe that Greedent.
Greedent, as always, omnipresent in keeping Mew and Jellicent off the bench. I know we were talking before we got into these matches about how Naiad looked to be a Jellicent core. The presence of Mew, the presence of Greedent, have really made it hard for the Jellyfish to make an impact on this meta, as we've seen from these early teams. So let's see how Hot Pocket wants to come at Joppy. And know now, Hot Pocket does know some of Joppy's moves because of the Gymbreakers format. You battle in pairs, and you get to share info with your teammates. So with Wadaj having battled first, Hot Pocket now has some information. We're going to ride along here with Joppy against Hot Pocket. We see Quagsire in a lead, Joppy immediately going to that safe swap Greedent.
Very, very smart play. I mean, Greedent has access to, as we've seen, so much spam and so many good neutral matchups across this meta. It makes one of the best safe swaps out there. Yeah,
and you can see building up a bit of energy before going into his own Greedent is Hot Pocket 777. And again, Kaz, sorry to say, this is going to be a familiar sight for most of the day, this Greedent mirror. So,
the mammal violence.
Yeah.
just prepare yourselves now. So, hey, at least it's not as slow as an Umbreon mirror, okay? Like, this is progressing pretty quickly as they're both throwing spam in equal measure.
Yes, and Joppy going for this body slam here just to try and put the pressure on Hot Pocket's shields, but that Swirl looked pretty healthy, able to take that body slam with ease. And now the switch timers are coming up.
But Joppy will not be able to tackle farm down the opposing Greedent and will let his own go in favor of getting one fast move off on one of his backline mons.
Yeah, gotta think that Shadow Scizor would love a running start against that Quagsire or whatever's in the back. Scizor does emerge.
Any energy you can get on Scizor, we've talked about, can be very, very dangerous. Yeah. And we do see the Quack come back in.
Yeah. Wanting to keep this matchup, and we do see a shield from Joppy protecting the fragile Bug Steel Pokemon here from a Stone Edge. Would have been neutral damage.
I mean, yes, but on a Shadow Scizor, that would have been, even neutral damage is massive.
It's true, and we see both shields up from Joppy here on back-to-back Stone Edges from this Quagsire. Content to just
we don't know Scizor. We don't know what's in the back from Hot Pocket, since we do not have access to that screen, but we do know that we have a lot of energy on Joppy's Scizor, and he wants to protect that with everything that he has access to.
Yeah, and we see Altaria, the final Pokemon for Hot Pocket in this first battle. Shadow Scizor gonna get these moves off, gets the shield on the Night/Bait. Gonna go for another one here, just trying to get as much chip damage as possible. Maybe trying to pull those shields away because this Altaria
is the final shield. Yes,
does get the final shield. And Scizor going to go to work here, trying to find another move. Does find another move here, but this is dangerous, Kaz, because this Altaria is now getting a bunch of energy. And in the mirror, you don't want to take that other charge move off the Altaria.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we will finally see Joppy swap into his own Altaria, will be met with what I'm sure is a Moonblast.
Yeah, it has to be. It is the Lunar Blast, but even still, Altaria doesn't care. Altaria just farming away here. Joppy gets to the Sky Attack, and that's going to do it in this first match. Joppy gets the Game 1 win over Hot Pocket 7-7-7, ties the match up at 2-2.
Exactly. Really, really strong knowledge of what, his Altaria in the back there, knowing just when to bring it in and when to throw that move.
Yeah, and that's having the knowledge of Naiad Cup there as well. I'm sorry to say, but if you're looking at that pack Pokemon, odds are it's Altaria. If it's not Greedent, it's Altaria.
Would you say Altaria is the Charizard of Naiad?
I'd say it's the Piloswine of Naiad.
But we have our second matchup ready here with Giappy's Shadow Sizor up against Hot Pocket's Squirrel.
Yeah, and we see similar team comps for both battlers entering Game 2, just a little different alignment, a little more favorable for Giappy, keeping the Shadow Scizor away from the Quagsire. But Green does still have Crunch Kaz, and this will still threaten, and does get a shield from Giappy.
Gets that first shield out of the way. No debuff in sight from the Crunch, but Hot Pocket swaps into his Quagsire to take this first Night Slash.
Yeah, a nice catch here by Pocket, just wanting to protect the Squirrel just in case it's needed, but there's the boost on Scizor!
Those shields better start coming out.
The RNG god smiling again on the Italian side. This Shadow Scizor
will give up the second shield to protect that boost.
Exactly, and Giappy knows at least 2 Night Slashes are going to come off, can take this Quagsire out of the picture immediately if Pocket doesn't offer up a shield. Does not offer a shield. Quagsire is out. This is
another boost for Giappy. My goodness, this Sizor is a menace. I mean, Hot Pocket has 2 shields left, but
look at what these bullet punches are doing to Green. It can't even get to the body slam.
It's insane.
Oh my god. I said yesterday that that the Spanish team had to offer up some sangria or something to the RNG gods with some of the luck they had. Clearly the RNG gods are skipping Prosecco, because my god, this Scizor just tearing through Hot Pocket's side finally goes down.
All shields are down, and this Hot Pocket's Altaria does have a slight energy advantage, but still.
You can have a slight energy advantage, but Altaria's good at resisting. It's not good at digging yourself out of a 2-1 hole. And there's a whole green on Giappy's side, and Pocket knows this one is over. The gods were not in his favor.
That double boost is just so hard to come back from. I mean, you can't shield fast moves, right? And when you have a fast move on Sizor as powerful as that bullet punch, it's just gonna start tearing teams apart.
Oh my god. I mean, as DC Vulpix saying in chat, I mean, Hot Pocket could get good against Night Slash. I mean, in the language of the teenagers, I believe he's very fluent in that.
Is that what they used to say?
But, yeah, so we'll see how Pocket bounces back. Altaria against Greedent in the lead here in Game 3. We see a swap to that Defense Deoxys in the back line for Hot Pocket. We'll see if that can offer some level of resistance to that Shadow Scizor to prevent the absolute thrashing that the Johto Pokemon delivered to the American side. Greedent comes in for Hot Pocket and draws out Giappy's Defense Deoxys.
Deoxys will have to take a crunch, but can take 1 from the Squirrel before it potentially gets debuffed, and will be able to stack quite a bit of counter damage in return.
Yeah, and going for these Rock Slides here, keeping that attack up, not wanting to go for the Psycho Boost to debuff here. Greedent going to take the Rock Slide as Pocket in another tough spot here. This time the counter's just chunking away at the Squirrel. And Giappy going to let Defense Deoxys go. No, Scizor just needs all shields at this point. Scizor just gets all the shields, gets all the boosts, and here it comes.
If there's one thing we know after watching Giappy play these matches, it's that if he gives his shields to Scizor, then it's going to have a good day.
Yeah, and we see the full bullet punch farm down there on the Greedent. Beautiful, beautiful farm down there. And Scizor going to go to work with these Night Slashes. First one not shielded by Pocket, knowing that if he gets that boost, Gonna need them for the latter one.
Yeah, but we'll have to shield this second one because even unboosted Night Slash from a Shadow Scizor really hits hard on a purely psychic type Pokemon like Deoxys.
Yeah, and now this time Deoxys going for that Psycho Boost here, knowing that the Psycho Boost will probably be enough. Does get that shield out of Joppy, definitely protecting that Shadow Scizor. Going to the Greedent here, drawing out the Altaria, which had a moved bank pocket. Kept that Sky Attack just in case for the Squirrel. And it is no shielded again. Joppy putting all faith in the red bug. That Shadow Scizor in the back. Green gonna try and get the final shield away with this Body Slam. Might be the only one it has, but Altaria is gonna throw up the shield.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably in Hot Pocket's best interest to keep as much health on this Altaria as possible, but the spam slam is coming. Yeah, I know. I told you we should just simplify it, but it's going to come across and allow Altaria to get really low on its health there. We'll have to throw another Sky Attack here, but this last shield comes up from Giappy.
This is huge, though. Getting to that Sky Attack, able to throw it off, has the Psycho Boost, but Joppy was ready and threw the Night Slash immediately and able to catch the Deoxys on a charge move priority event. Deoxys out, and Joppy is going to sweep the Peoria Regional Champion Hot Pocket 777 and pick up a huge 3 points for Italy, giving them a 4-2 lead after 2 games here.
Very nice. Well, as we saw, the Shadows, he really did learn, like, if I give Scizor my shields, equals win. That's just basic math, I think, at this point that he learned.
Yeah, Shadow Scizor has been a menace as a core breaker here in this meta, and Joppy just fully bowing at the altar of the Bug Steel type, those clamps, just putting Hot Pocket in a vice that he could not get out of. And a very, very masterful display from Joppy. A well-earned rest for the rest of this matchup going 4-2 against the USA. And Kaz, I need a break. I absolutely need a break after that. So we're going to turn it over to the English contingent here of our shoutcasters. Let's get Callum on and let's get Adelian on.
Surprise, surprise, folks. How are we doing?
Ooh.
How are you doing, Callum? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Very happy to be watching those battles. Great comeback from Giappy to take that 3-0.
Yeah, I know that was a big semi-reverse sweep. So, but let's not dawdle too much. We have another matchup here between Scarfo and Elite Zero. Maybe there's a better way of me to pronounce that. And we can see on Elite side there's another Shadow Sizzle there, which we saw how dangerous that was in the previous matchup. But now for Scarfo, we can see a Hakamo-O, which is kind of cool, I think. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the Hakamo in action. Something I'm quite interested in. I've seen sort of 2 variations with this Double Dragon. It's very popular to run, say, a normal or a Deoxys lead to one that can deal with the Wall Rain there. But then some people actually run the Altaria on the safe swap, despite its double weakness to the ice. So very interesting to see what Scaffo decides to go with if they attempt to Double Dragon line. And very interesting to see the Mew sets here, because as most people know, in Gymbreaker format, you can choose your moveset before the round starts, but then you have to stick with it. So Mew is a very powerful force in this format.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, without any further ado, I say we jump straight into the battles and let's see the magic happen as Elite takes on Scarfo with a Shadow Scizor facing off against a Greedent. So you can see Tackle on Greedent's side, which is the most common moveset, and Elite wasting no time going for a Night Slash, hopefully trying to get that boost nice and early. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane how many matchups Sizzle can flip with an early boost, and even a late boost timed correctly. Electing for a Body Slam here instead of a Crunch, despite the resistance. I mean, Shadow Scizor is so squishy, it's barely a resistance anyway, so probably a smart shield from Elite here. And as we see another Night Slash coming up, just before the Iron Head. So we know... I don't necessarily think we'll see a shield here.
No,
no, but we do,
no,
never mind.
Scarpo decides to go for it because it is a charge move priority event, and he is perhaps hoping now. Elite recognizes this is a body slam and opts to no shield here. This will not KO, but it does make the Shadow Sizzle a lot weaker now. But maybe Shadow Sizzle can get a farm down potentially, and it chooses not to. And just yes, just shy. I think it was the right call because I think Greedent would have got to a body slam if, or the Sizzle would have lost all its health here. So Sizzle now quite weak and can quite easily be farmed down. So what comes in from Scarfo's side? Let's see.
Yeah, getting energy on that Deoxys is nice here, especially with the switch block up, so you'd be able to Psycho Boost. But for you coming in, are we going to see a wild charge and dip? Yeah, most likely.
Yes, that would make sense, and it was sensible to remove the Deoxys from the Mew matchup. The Shadow Claws from Mew are quite problematic for Deoxys, which can only hit back with counters, which are resisted, and of course the Rock Slide or the Thunderbolt. So now it is two normal types facing off against each other, both of them running Tackle, both of them running Body Slam, but the interesting difference ends there. Sorry, the interesting difference being Greedent running Crunch against Miltank's Thunderbolt. So here, the sensible play is to go for Body Slams, and we'll see who can outspam the other Pokemon.
In some senses, I think Thunderbolt is just ever so slightly better if you're not too worried about your energy, but that Greedent is so low now that with the additional tackle damage, it makes absolutely no sense to go for the nuke here. We see the move coming through, and takes Miltank just down to the red. I believe it should still easily get to this body slam. Another throw from Elite here.
And here's the problem here, because if Scarfo does shield, Greedent will just throw yet another body slam, so there really isn't a point in trying to shield at this point. So Scarfo making the right call, and now Greedent responding with a Crunch in order to deal some super effective damage on the Deoxys. And is there going to be a debuff? There is a debuff, and that's going to really help the Mew to Shadow Claw and cause problems. They both have one shield on each side, but this Deoxys is really going to struggle now. Has to farm, and Scarfo knows that because of that debuff, there is nothing he can do to defeat this Mew. That would require more than two Rock Slides, because the first one would go shielded, and the second one would not KO anyway. So yeah, that was, I think Scarfo recognizing he doesn't have a win con and choosing to bow out respectfully, allowing Elite to take the first win for the US against Italy.
I think smart also is to not reveal the full moveset and to ensure that at least
that makes a lot of sense.
Information for their teammates. And unfortunate lead for Scarfo here, so we see an instant swap out into Greedent, but at least with this super effective tackle we may see a Crunch come through from the other end and perhaps a debuff of their own. But first we see Rock Slide.
Yes, that's right. So Rockside coming in, choosing to shield straight away to ensure that some health is preserved. This actually does make some sense because the counters are the most dangerous thing on Deoxys, from Deoxys towards the Greedent, and Greedent really wants to preserve its health because it cannot shield the fast move pressure that Counter does. Counter being such a strong fast type move, one of the most popular in the game. And here comes another Crunch from the Greedent to try and get that second shield out of the way. Does get it, and now Deoxys currently shieldless, I believe.
Yeah, it's very likely that. They probably. It's a bit hard to see on measuring from here, but I think they would have just got into the body slam there before the counter down. So very wise decision to throw the Rock Slide here, and we see the Deoxys mirror coming in. I think this is a very smart, as you barely take anything from even the Rock Slides, and you just get so much energy here to potentially seek out a win condition with Scarfo. So I think good recognition of the counter down here. And what will we see? Likely see the Mew come back in from Elite side.
Yes, we would likely see the Mew come back in here, which then means Scarfo can then choose to throw some energy using the Rock Slide at the Mew to try and soften it up a little bit. Here comes the Mew. Rock Slide does indeed come in straight away to try and chip away at this, but we do have a slight problem in the back because Deoxys will not want to stay in this matchup, so there may be a swap into the Altaria, and then you can see the response here on Elite side as Walrein comes in. Walrein has absolutely no mercy for Altaria. The double weakness towards ice means Walrein can just throw this icicle sphere. The shield may be coming in. Walrein's choosing, Altaria choosing to let it go and just survives. Great knowledge by Scarfo to know that he will survive survive that icicle sphere and throw the sky attack, getting some important chip damage on the Walrein before it goes down. Excellent play there by Scarfo. Callum.
Excellent play, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to cut it. You've got the Mew in the back. You've got very close to a shields down situation. It's unfortunately just a case of the stronger backline. I mean, you can comfortably tank even another Rock Slide here and just electing to go for the double Dragon Claw actually, but I think Shadow Claw down would have been just as fine. So another wrapped up game for Elite. Very well played.
Yes, that was very, very. That was a bit closer, but yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things where if you read the backline incorrectly or you take a punt on it and it doesn't work out in your favor, that Altaria versus Walrein matchup is not ideal. But there are more battles to come, so let's crack on with the next one and see if Scarfo can fight back, can bring in a win, can work some of his magic and put Italy back in the lead. Currently 4-4, USA versus Italy. I'm getting excited already.
Oh, no. Here we go. Okay, so coming into this, we see the Mew from Scarfo's end, same moveset as Elite. And I mean, even though the Dragon Claws are super effective, it's not that brilliant of a move. So Altaria is still relatively fine in this matchup with Mew. You see the Dragon Claw coming through and electing to no shield from Elite side, as these Dragon Ref damage still adding up so badly.
Yes, and well timed there by Elite to throw Sky Attack just before Mew reaches a second Dragon Claw, forcing that first shield, giving Elite a shield advantage early on. Now it's a choice for Mew to choose where to throw again. This time to throwing another Dragon Claw, which again goes no shielded by the Altaria because it will survive, but it will be quite low on health at this point.
Interesting decision from Elite, given the Walrein in the background, potentially electing to lose lead despite that, maybe perhaps knowing that his backline is better off gaining energy to see if they can overcome some bad matchups. And here we see the Shadow Sizzle once again coming for a great farm down here, but just gets to the wild charge. Oh, that's very clutch for Scaffold.
And look, there's no shield, Yes, this is going to wipe
one
hit KO. Well, that is a huge shift in the matchup there. Huge shift, and that's going to really, really help now as Greedent comes up against the Walrein from Elite's side. Greedent just tackling away, is going to go up to the crunch and then decide whether or not to throw. Walrein's at Earthquake, has the ability to throw an Earthquake here, but choosing just to go for the Icicle Sphere because it predicts it's unlikely Scarfo will shield in any case. So then there's no shield, and then Scarfo responding with a Body Slam to chip away at this Walrein. So where a shield does come out to try and preserve this Walrein's health, Greedent has to work up again to another Body Slam in order to cause some more damage on this Walrein. Callum.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met a Walrein player who doesn't throw Icicle Spear first. I think that's just a very common tactic, even when it's an absolutely terrible decision. But here we come in through. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, you've just got to elect a no shield because shields are down for Elite here, and you've got just another Body Slam coming through. You don't even need that shield, and then you can just safely keep shields for Komodo and get that Dragon Tail down, even if this Body Slam isn't quite enough out.
Oh, it survives, and then
very
there's the
interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting catch, considering this is not what you'd want. I wonder if Greedent is going to serve some purpose being on 1 HP there, but that's a huge amount of damage on the Komodo, but that was it. And unfortunately, there was nothing else left in the back. So Scarfo able to pull one back. I think it was the Komodo rather than the Hakamoto on Scarfo's team there. But nonetheless, great to see that Pokemon come out and just with one Dragon Tail finish off that match. So Italy losing a little bit of ground, but still slightly in the lead, currently 5-4 in this matchup. So all to play for. Early days is, of course, the first to 25 wins, as said at the bottom of the stream. So yeah, next matchup is up already when you've got Enzuk from the Italian side versus Dre Flames, a player who I have seen many times in the Gymbreakers in the past. I've seen him battle before, so this will be interesting. Again, we can see Shadow Sizzles from both sides, but we have quite a bit of danger here as Drayflame's opting for a Galvantula against Enzuk, who is running Mantine and Jellicent, two Pokemon that really don't appreciate Electric, but the Hakamo is also there, and Hakamo, I believe, resists all of Galvantula's charge moves, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very hard wall, and especially with those strong, damaging Dragon Tails, it really puts a lot of pressure onto that Galvantula. I'm very excited by the Mantine pick, actually. It's something I haven't seen on a lot of teams when browsing through the battles, but it's rated very highly, perhaps too highly due to the PV Poke typically favouring those with Bubble Beam, just like Jellicent, which, as mentioned by AJ in the previous battles, has seen a large drop-off in the popularity of Greed and Miltank and such. So very excited to see if Enzuk brings it despite knowing the risk of Gymbreakers. I think it's perhaps not likely given that they've just got a very slight lead at the minute, perhaps want to play it safe. I'm very interested to see what we see as we hop into these battles. So
without further ado,
would you like to take it away?
Yeah, of course. So Jellicent leading in. This is a bubble Jellicent, so an instant swap out into the Scizor here. This is resisted damage because steel types do resisted damage to the steel type attacks do resisted damage to water type Pokemon, but the Night Slashes are dangerous here. So Jellicent though does have the bulk to withstand one Night Slash from Scizor, and Jellicent actually, this is a charge move priority event, opting for the Shadow Ball, which Scizor really does need to shield if it wants to survive. There is the Wise and Sensible shield here, and a swap out into the Altaria, which does not fear the Night Slashes quite so much. And look at the damage that's being done. Resisted damage, but nonetheless huge damage on the Shadow Scizor here. Callum, what do you reckon? Is he going to shield?
I mean,
oh, there we are.
I mean, we see the very clever shield there, predicting the Iron Head. Oh, that's always a tough call when most people prefer to just go straight for the Night Slash and fish for a boost. But I mean, we're just seeing the pure power of Dragon Breath here, munching through even steel types. Coming out with a Moonblast.
Yes, I think this is sensible here to go for a Moonblast because this, if he doesn't shield, it's a one-hit KO. And there is, well, sorry, not a one-hit KO, but it does a lot more damage and allows the Altaria on Enzuk's side to now be able to actually win this matchup as well, potentially, if there's no shield. So that was actually very, very good play here. And actually the Altaria from Drayflame's side does go out now. And here comes the Galvantula. This is a great position. It's a Fury Cutter Galvantula. Interesting, exciting, different. We like it. But it has not necessarily the best move here because Altaria can withstand all that to get another Sky Attack off. So what happens here?
Very interesting decision on Drayflames, given that, I mean, Sizzle resists for Fury Cutter and you're lacking that fast move pressure against the Mantine and Jellicent. So we could perhaps see one of those come into the next match, given that information. So very interested in seeing what their decision is here. Body Slam coming through. Ooh, bit of Niantic lag.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that. What's going on here? But there we go.
And there's the conclusion.
Yeah. So
a free ball flex from Enzuk. Very well played.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right with now Enzuk will have a little bit more confidence to bring in Jellicent, Mantine, Cause potentially. Still has to be a little bit concerned with with the wall rain against Mantine, because wall rain can really can wall Mantine, but nonetheless that Galvantula having Fury Cutter, I'm not sure if that was the best here. I'm trying to think where it would have an advantage, but I think there isn't really much. So the next match is here, and Drayflame's opting to play it safe and lead with Greedent, but it is responded to by the Altaria, which and Enzuk is more than happy to stay in this matchup because of the huge damage that Dragon Breath can do, just chipping away at this Greedent. No shield because this is likely to be a body slam. That's not something to worry about if you're Altaria. But no, actually it's a crunch. Is there a debuff? No debuff this time. Go ahead.
That's the unfortunate thing about attempting for an early crunch. 30% of the time you feel amazing, but the other 70% it just doesn't work out and you're forced to change tactics. Sky Attack coming through here. Yeah, good counting from Drayflames, recognize that was just a Sky Attack. And we see the Shadow Sizzle once again swapping in on an Altaria, getting those shields onto itself, trying to get in a position where it can fish for a boost or attempt a fast move pressure sweep. Just very intense damage coming through here. Going for a Night Slash, not building up to the Iron Head, knowing that Night Slash chip is probably just enough given how relatively slow Altaria takes to get to its moves. And a very nice farm down here from Enzuk.
Yes, this is going to be quite dangerous now for whatever Pokemon comes in. There is a shield disadvantage, but Scizor is slightly loaded. I think only 2 more bullet punches, gets to another Night Slash, and goes for it straight away in order to chip away at this Greedent. There is maybe the potential for a boost here as well. We never know. It could happen. Good amount of damage here, and now this Greedent is in Night Slash range, so it could take another. It could be hit again, but this time ends up opting to no shield, and actually does survive on 1 HP, and now instantly swaps. And we now see a role reversal as Enzuk's Greedent faces up against the Scizor on Drayflame's size, and now we have to play more bait games. Is this a Night Slash? Is this going to be the potential Iron Head? We will see, but this looks like it's a Night Slash. Is there a boost on this occasion? No boost.
I think this is the right call for the body slam here. I mean, they've got 2 shields and just the squishy Scizor, and they still do enough even with the no shields. But yeah, we see the first shield coming through from the Scizor, now attempting to go for the crunch, perhaps. Yeah, as we just get there, no throwing of a Night Slash from Drayflames here. Do we see the potential debuff? This could be catastrophic for Drayflames here. No debuff.
No debuff on this occasion. Yes, I think it was sensible to go for the crunch here because perhaps ends up recognizing that they would not get to 2 body slams here, so opting for the higher damaging move, or the one that has the potential to offer some more flipped matchups. Going straight into the Altaria here to try and take this out. Now, no shield on this occasion. This could be quite a dangerous. Oh, it's an Iron Head.
And it is so dangerous.
Wow, and what a flip there. Drayflames is able to fight back and bring a win back. That was seriously close, because if that was a 50-50 there, if that was the Iron Head, if that wasn't the Iron Head, the Altaria may not have been KO'd there, and that would have been a lot closer. So all the lead remains unchanged. There is 1 battle advantage towards Italy, currently 6-5 in this matchup. So very, very, very close at this point. Anything to comment on, Callum?
I mean,
other than this new battle.
You got your Mantine. We see the Mantine. I'm very excited to finally see this in action.
Go on then, crack it on. Let's see what.
Okay, so very interesting to see, because most Mantine players actually typically go for the Ice Beam first, because Bubble Beam is just such an obvious bait to start with. So we see the Ice Beam coming through, doing respectable damage to Greedent, but obviously non-stab and not that hard hitting of a move. It could be somewhat of a bad position for Mantine here with Greedent's over bulk. What do you think, Adele?
I do think I actually think going for the Ice Beam straight away, because a lot of what a beautiful catch
nice.
There. We love to see it. Love to see a good catch. So this Mantine now quite loaded on energy. It's now safely out of the way as Greedent tanks a body slam here, and now that's responded to by a Shadow Scizor. The Scizor is going to be able to outpace to the Night Slash here, but Greedent over farming, both sides now over farming a little bit, as the body slam now does come from Enzuk's side on the Shadow Scizor. There is a threat that this could be a cruncher. Does a shield come out? A shield does indeed come out. The bait is successful on this occasion, but who throws first? And here comes the Shadow Scizor now coming in with a Night Slash, most likely, because this is within Night Slash KO range, or maybe not.
Just misses out on the body slam there. Do we see the Mantine come back in with a... no, because if you bring in Jellicent, you're forced to shield some of the Night Slashes, and you've still got energy on the Mantine. So does elect to come in with a Mantine here, knowing that they can comfortably tank any move that Scizor throws here. Yes, chooses to no shield as the Night Slash comes through. And do we see a debuff attempt? No, an insta-switch, actually. That's interesting. Are we going to see a 2 shield and farm down, and hoping that the energy from Jellicent can sweep the backline here?
Yes, that would make sense, particularly as you don't necessarily want to throw your energy on as Mantine on the Scizor, which could potentially be farmed down here. But yeah, 2 shields are being committed to Jellicent to try and farm this Scizor down. The fact that Scizor is staying in is maybe just to clear these shields before a swap out, and in comes the Greedent again. Now, this is not this is quite good for with Jellicent running Ice Beam here, because that means there is no wall to the charge moves, and this Ice Beam does a huge amount of damage. And now with it being bubble, Greedent could potentially be farmed down, and it is. Wow, this Jellicent's so loaded right now. Do you want to take it away, Callum?
a lot of Greedents electing to pick tackle, as previously mentioned, but that does mean Jellison is typically a lot better, especially with this tech of the bubble set. And we see the Altaria come in. I don't think this Ice Beam will quite do KO because Altaria is so bulky and Jellison doesn't very attack quite a bit. It'll do a nice chunk, but we see with the shield, of course. We could potentially see, if the Altaria isn't able to KO this Jellison, a double Ice Beam back-to-back from both the Jellison and the Mantine.
Yes, and I think Mantine also has some. Yeah, Mantine does have some energy, and Jellison does survive, is able to get an Ice Beam off, which is going to do a huge amount of damage. So we'll see how close this takes Altaria into the red, or whether it KOs or not. Just about survives. Instant swap, and then another tap on the Ice Beam. The Dragon Breath, that Mantine able to withstand one Dragon Breath in order to get its charge move off, and this double Ice Beam puts paid to Altaria as it falls down. One more Pokemon left, and it's just the Scizor, which goes down with one wing attack, I believe, from the Mantine. So another excellent game from Enzuk here, and another win, therefore. So that lead for Italy stays. In fact, it's recovering from the last matchup. So that was very, very close. But still, these two teams are these two countries are so strong. They've got so many good players, and so many good players still left to see. That having 2-win lead at this stage, while good, doesn't necessarily mean it's all over. There's still plenty to play for here, as the next battles will be coming imminently, I'm sure. Any thoughts from you, Callum?
Well, very interesting that we saw. Well, part of me was very worried that the Mantine would be so low that we could potentially see a Dragon Breath down from the swap-in, but thankfully recognised that we just had enough to comfortably get there. Flames mentioning in the chat that they were almost anticipating the combo play, and I believe a catch there would have been completely game-changing, given how low all four of the Pokemon healths were. So
Perfect. Well, we will be disappearing and getting AJ and Kaz back on, but don't go anywhere. Plenty more battles to come, and you may see us later on. Toodles for now.
Is there any sweeter sight than seeing an Altaria get Ice Beamed?
Oh, it's
I know.
Especially when you see it get Ice Beamed twice.
Yeah, no offense to Flames, who I know is in the chat, and did let us know that the Fury Cutter Galvantula was not intentional, just wasn't actually TM'd from its Electric Cup moveset. So unfortunate.
Yeah, we did see the response immediately from Enzuk bringing out more of those waters once it knew the electric damage was not a threat.
Yeah, once it wasn't intentional, but Dre did very well to pick up a point there in an unfortunate situation. And Enzuk will be in action immediately after, this time drawing Rise to Occasion, who is bringing a new Pokemon that we haven't seen today, Kaz. Something I know a lot of PvP fans were looking for and going after from those research events last year. Buzzwole has hit the scene with its counter damage, with the lunge superpower combo.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't see a lot of play for it against Enzuk's side with that Mantine, with that Jellison, with that Altaria. The Buzzwole doesn't have a lot of targets.
Like, maybe you bring it out if you really want some extra protection against the Shadow Scizor, but there's so many threats there. I'm just not sure that it has any play here. But I do think that the Mew has a lot of great targets over on Enzuk's team. So let's see how Rise deals with this.
Yeah, and
Scizor.
You know, Rise always thinking we're not going to see the Mew in game one. Instead, it's Greedent on Altaria, a very popular matchup here in Naiad.
Yeah. One we see a lot, and we do see that Shadow Scizor in the back of Enzuk's lineup there, just waiting, lurking with its shields.
Yeah, Greedent gonna get the first move off with this body slam, just trying to chip away at the Altaria. We see that tackle Greedent, able to add
Altaria going straight for the Moonblast. Really trying to get this Greedent out of here.
And no shield here from Rise to Occasion, and no debuff. Enzuk is not Hoff, does not get the Moonblast debuff, and Altaria just going to come in, try and farm down. Enzuk's going to bank the Sky Attack and go into Greedent, and here's the opposite.
Flip it and reverse it.
Missy Elliott would be proud.
They both took the time to secure energy on their respective squirrel and burbs, but now that we have seen that matchup flipped, we see Greedent will not fear this first sky attack from Altaria, but will be able to get a little bit of extra energy, probably? No, going for the second sky attack from Rise.
Greedent fears nothing but the harsh Galarian winter as these sky attacks fly through. Greedent takes them both, trying to get the body slam though. But this is farm for Enzuk, Shadow, Scizor, and Rise is not gonna like the sight of the Steel Bug Pokemon, the menace.
He comes back in with Greedent and tries to force the shield. Force the first shield.
Could force it. Did have energy. Nope. Just gonna go to Deoxys. I like this play from Rise. It gives you the Psycho Boost threat. And the Shadow Scizor going to throw the Night Slash here. Rise going to take the first one. Knows that you take the first one in case the gods smile upon Shadow Scizor yet again.
And we do see the Psycho Boost Rock Slide moveset from Rise's Deoxys. So we'll have access to not only the spam from the debuffing Psycho Boost, but a pretty powerful move against the potential Altaria, Mantine, and Scizor.
Yeah, we see that first shield from Scizor. Enzuk got the memo. Shields plus Scizor equals good. And Greedent coming in trying to get that final shield with this stocked body slam that the Greedent had. Does get the final shield out of the Shadow Scizor. And Scizor will be able to farm down here.
Yeah, Scizor taking full opportunity there to farm down and get a lot of extra energy on the Scizor. But I like that play from Rise, bringing back in that squirrel to try and force that last shield.
Yeah, and here comes the sky attack that Enzuk banked. The combo play here. Can Deoxys survive this sky attack? It can barely and get the move off. But is this debuff going to be enough to let Scizor survive and get that final bullet punch through on the Deoxys?
Yeah.
With ease, and Enzuk's going to take game one here off Rise to Occasion. Again, we've seen this formula for Italy. Joppy used it to full effect. Shadow Scizor plus shields equals good times in Italy.
It's working its way through the sets. They all got the early memo, and shields plus Scizor equals wins. And we saw there that the Deoxys just did not have enough energy left over after, especially after debuffing itself. It just took that one last bullet seed.
Yeah.
So if you're Rise, I mean, you know that Scizor's going to be waiting in the back, so you've got to bring some better counters. But we see instead the Wall Rain coming in on Rise's side there.
Yeah, and seeing Deoxys on the lead here, maybe anticipating Altaria, wanting a little bit of a better matchup for the space Pokemon, the Space Invader that it is. Throwing these rock slides, the meteorites coming down and hitting Altaria as Rise swaps into that Greedent, trying to get energy and body slam stored for the winter on this squirrel. But again, ends up going for this Moonblast here, Kaz.
Well, Squirrel also can take a lot of damage. I mean, Moonblast is a pretty strong move, and it does about 50% of Greedent's health there, but able to take it and can deal back the damage with its own spam here in spades.
Yeah, but the body slam is weathered by the Altaria. I'm surprised it was alive. But Shadow Scizor enters, trying to farm down this squirrel again, get that energy lead for Enzuk, be able to pressure those shields from Rise to Occasion. The Night Slash does knock out the Greedent, and this is a problem for Rise because neither of those Pokemon want to deal with the steel onslaught that this Scizor offers.
I think the most you can do here when it comes to Rise's side is maybe just shield up the Deoxys, and just try and deal as much counter damage as you can to clear the way for Wall Rain in the endgame.
Yeah, but look at the backline for Enzuk. This is going to be a problem for Rise as well. He doesn't know it yet. Getting as much energy as possible here on this Deoxys before firing the Psycho Boost that is shielded by the Shadow Scizor here. And we'll see if Rise, immediately dips out to Wall Rain and catches the Night Slash. Big catch there, but the problem will emerge soon after.
I mean, because Jellicent can just come, and even though this is a bubble Jellicent, I mean, it still doesn't really have a lot to fear from Rise's Wall Rain. Can go straight Shadow Ball.
Yeah, exactly. And the Wall Rain can't do much either outside of shaking the earth, and Jellicent can take an earthquake, as anyone who has dealt with the Jellymeister and felt its scorn will be able to tell you. Jelly is tanky as hell, just bouncing off. Still gonna shield the earthquake anyway, just waste that energy from Rise.
Yeah, I mean, Enzuk wants to keep this jelly as healthy as it possibly can. Right?
Yeah.
And now we see Rise trying to just get a little more chip damage from this Icicle Spear. Doesn't want to waste the energy getting all the way to the Earthquake.
Yeah, but this might be over here. Enzuk gonna land the Shadow Ball to eliminate the Walrein from this matchup, and now Defense Deoxys has energy, but has to knock out 3 Pokemon.
Yeah.
See Rise just trying to build up as much as possible here, going for the Psycho Boost, looking to get rid of the Jellicent immediately here. And it is not enough. Jellicent tanking that as well. Immediately going into Shadow Scizor, knowing that those counters are now reduced and the bullet punches are enough. Enzuk goes up 2-0 on Rise to Occasion, as the Italian side now leads 9-5, Kaz. And if you're Rise, what is it time to bust out the moveset?
Yeah, again, bringing the Walrein out was a really interesting choice, as we've been able to see just how strong that Shadow Scizor is. So I gotta think that in this last matchup, we might see the Buzzwole come in, because you've gotta bring some pressure on that Scizor. Oh,
I see Mew. I see Mew, but it didn't want to see Shadow Scizor, and Rise immediately dips out into Altaria, trying to maybe pull out a Jellicent in the back, but instead ends up going to get this Night Slash off here, do some chip damage to the Altaria, and then, oh no, he's going to stay in with it. This is an interesting call here, keeping Shadow Scizor in, banking on the Greedent maybe to take out the Mew in the back.
Yeah, we'll use that for a shield. I mean, seeing that Mew immediately and seeing your own Greedent waiting in the back, I mean, that would be my strat too, but we do see Enzuk bring out that Greedent now to try and tackle down, or at least a majority tackle down the Altaria and maybe get some energy to spare.
Yeah, Greedent able to weather these aerial assaults from the Altaria with ease, building up as much energy as possible, able to tackle down the Altaria, and now in comes Rise's Greedent, trying to soak up some damage here, not wanting Mew to come back in. I like this play by Rise. It was an interesting choice by Enzuk to bring Greedent out, knowing that the Mew is back there, maybe banking on Shadow Scizor and Shields being able to handle that Mew. But the Body Slam spam here from Greedent gonna go to work and put this Squirrel in the yellow.
I mean, Rise's Mew has not revealed its moveset. You know, if you can protect that with at least one shield, and have the potential to bait with the Dragon Claw and then land that Wild Charge, that can be really powerful in the end game here.
I mean, we'll have to see what coverage this Mew has. You have to think Wild Charge is going to be on there, given the water presence on Enzuk's side. Here comes Altaria to deal with Mew. It is indeed a Dragon Claw Wild Charge moveset for Rise, as these Shadow Claws get ripped off. The Dragon Claw coming through here on the Altaria, not shielded, and is super effective, but does minimal damage to the Altaria.
Yeah, I mean, minimal, like, this is pretty good for Mew, though. I mean, the Dragon Claw is its most effective move here, and it can just spam those without worrying about the potential debuff. But we do see Scizor come back in with a Night Slash loaded and ready for this Mew, which now does finally have to throw up a Protect Shield.
Yeah, the combo play there from Enzuk to get both shields away from Rise's Mew, trying to keep the original Mythical alive here to do as much damage as possible. There's the shield on the Dragon Claw, keeping the Scizor alive, and the switch timers, Kaz, are not up and
not aligned, and Mew is gonna have to take this Night Slash right to the face. Will get it off the field.
The darkness takes the Mew. Greedent has to try and tackle down. It is going to get the tackle down here. Can it survive long enough to get a body slam? It has a body slam. I don't think this is going to be enough, though, Altaria.
No, this is not enough for Altaria. It's a thick bird, and if you're not dealing super effective ice damage, the bird can take it.
Yeah, Altaria able to polish that off. Another 3-0 for Italy, this time against Rise to Occasion, and the Italian side doubling up the Americans 10-5, making this look like soccer instead of American football.
I mean, Enzo really, I mean, we talked about the memo, but he really took that to heart and has doubled down on the strategy to give Sizor every win condition possible. My goodness.
All shield, and I see a Sosa Flow in chat asking me if I am doubting the Shadow Scissor. No. We come here to praise the Shadow Scissor, to bask in the glory of its
error of our ways.
Altaria and Greedon, and throwing this Naiad meta into chaos.
Listen, I haven't seen, in my battles as of yet, I have not seen a Shadow Scissor. Now I'm scared. Now I have learned the error of my ways. I bow before the power of Scissor with shields. I will make the proper sacrifices for the boosts, I promise.
Give some of that sovereign comfort to the RNG gods and enable the Night Slash boosts to carry you, Kaz. That's all you can ask.
Oh my
goodness. We got one more set to do in this rotation here. Let's get that new set of battlers on the screen here.
I'm looking forward to see if the rest of the Italian team has also gotten the memo.
I have to think, usually in Gymbreakers formats, these teams like to come together on certain Pokemon. Again, in Continentals, the Chilean side coalesced around Shadow Dragonite, and it took them to the finals. We're going to see Wadaj back in action here against Heisenberg 24, the other member of the Italian pairing that had to go against the MCR duo. And
I mean, we see Shadow Scissor on both teams again.
Yes, but look who's on Heisenberg's side, Kaz. It's Daddy Cash himself, the Mud Boy from Hoenn, making his first appearance.
Yeah, and the Mud Boy is also very thick, can deal some damage against Wadaj's Shadow Scizor if Heisenberg has seen how, knows for a fact how powerful it can be and how it might come out on the field to try and haunt the Altaria, the Mew, even the Deoxys.
Yeah, not only that, Whiscash actually resists the bullet punches and takes neutral from Night Slash, so a very strong counterplay if Heisenberg thinks Wadaj is going to use that Shadow Scizor to try and break up the Altaria Greedent core that has been so popular in the meta so far, Kaz. I'm ready to get into these battles. More offerings to Shadow Scizor here in Naiad.
And I'm excited to see the cash come out.
When we don't see it on the opener, there is Altaria against Walrein, and that is a great lead for Wadaj. Instant swap into Daddy Cash.
There we go. This is why I'm here.
Daddy Cash here taking nothing from these whippersnappers. Easily tanks an Icicle Spear from that Walrein, building up the energy here. And the Pantano Bomba coming out. I'm going to start working some of these Italian names in here.
Exactly. And we do see both of these Pokemon able to deal fairly decent neutral damage to one another. The Icicle Spear is a little more powerful against Daddy Cash, but the Mud Slam. Oh my god, getting all my
It's not even Body Slam!
It's not even Body Slam, but we're just slurring all the S words today, I guess.
but you make a good point there, Kaz. The Mud Bomb stamps slightly quicker than the Icicle Spears, but Heisenberg is gonna let Whiscash go down here and might be looking for some farm on that Shadow Scizor. We see both trainers bringing Shadow Scizor to the party, and Scizor can't take a lot of things, but an Icicle Spear is on that list.
Is one of the things it can take fairly well, even with its shadow, mostly glassy status. And we do see a mirror match coming onto the field now. Scizor on Scizor, but one has a slight health advantage while the other has the energy advantage.
Oh, the Notice Ferza coming through, gets the first shield from Wadaj. Again, I'm going to hammer some of these Italian moves because it feels good coming off my tongue, Kaz. And we see the shield immediately flying up. Both trainers respecting the Scizor, giving all shields to the Metal Bug. Heisenberg going for this Night Slash as well. I'll pepper it in back and forth. And that is going to knock out Scizor. And you see Heisenberg immediately wanting Altaria to enter the picture.
Oh, and we see another immediate swap into the mirror here for both players, now putting them on almost equal energy footing. Wadaj swapped a little faster, so I think they might have one Dragon Breath advantage going for them here.
Yeah, and we see that final shield there from the Altaria on the Sky Attack. Shields up on both sides. Wadaj confident that he's going to get to the sky attack before the Italian shiny Cotton Bird can as well. And knowing that Walreign's back there as well, to be able...
We do have that low health Walreign back there ready for a sack swap if needed.
Yeah, but no need. Wadaj getting to the sky attack, going to take Altaria out of the picture, and Shadow Scizor has no energy left to offer resistance. Altaria with the Dragon Breath down. Wadaj gonna take the point for America, maybe get some momentum back for the United States.
Ooh, man, those were still such close battles, and we did see, you know, they both had almost mirror backlines, but we did see the different choice in waters there, and how the increased pressure from the Icicle Spear onto the Whiscash was able to get that off the field early and make room for the Shadow Scizor on Wadaj's side, the backline.
Service announcement: Walreign's still good, so...
In case you were wondering, Walreign's still relevant, everybody.
Yeah, and we see both trainers coming back in too with Shadow Scizor and Altaria cores, but look at the difference in the back. Has both reaching for defense Deoxys in the back as the Aero Ataco gets shielded by Wadaj. All shields to the Scizor, as we've been preaching here, and Wadaj reaching for the Iron Head, gonna try and get the knockout.
Going straight for that Iron Head and no shield from Heisenberg, so Altaria gone from the field.
And I actually like this play. If Heisenberg thinks that Walreign is back there, you come in, you get farm on one of your other Pokemon, and it is Shadow Scizor entering in. Wadaj gets the Night Slash off, easily shielded by Heisenberg, and I think that Bullet Punch KO'd Kaz.
Yeah, I mean, it did slip through, so we... Oh, no, it takes one more. It takes one more Bullet Punch to get that Shadow Scizor off the field.
Yeah.
Wadaj's side.
Yeah, but this is big now. Altaria and Deoxys have to try and deal with a healthy Scizor with energy, and Wadaj is going to no-shield the first Night Slash, as you should, because you never know when the RNG gods are smiling, and there they are! There they are! Scizor gets the boost. This Night Slash gets the shield.
And will be able to win that charge move priority event and get another Night Slash, forcing that shield, and another boost comes through for Heisenberg.
Oh, the Prosecco is flowing greatly for Shadow Scizor, getting these boosts and just putting this Deoxys in peril. It's gonna get Bullet Punched down. No, it finds the Psycho Boost at the last moment to take out Shadow Scizor.
Oh my goodness, get that thing out of here. But now Heisenberg's Deoxys has a lot of work to do against this Altaria. I mean, there's no shields in play, but you still have to get to multiple rock slides.
Yeah, but that Scizor doing so much work, Kaz. I think it's going to be pretty easy for this defense Deoxys to get to the second one. I think the only shot Wadaj has here is hoping for that Moonblast debuff and gets the Moonblast off. Do the Americans have that Sovereign Comfort on their side? Do they get the debuff they need here to survive this? No, they don't. Here comes a Rock Slide to try and wipe out this Altaria, and this might be it. Those RNG gods again smiling down on the Boot Peninsula as Deoxys finishes its counterpart, and Heisenberg picks up another point for Italy on its second quad boost of the day.
Merciless boosting for the Italians. I seriously wonder what the secret is. Like, which wine are we talking about here? I'm asking for a friend, you know.
I've seen Limoncello in the chat. Amaretto, I know, is my dad's favorite. So all the fine Italian offerings drawing the favor of the RNG gods here as Heisenberg goes into game 3, leading Deoxys against Shadow Scizor. Not a great matchup here, but not a lot in the back there for Heisenberg against this Scizor Kaz.
Yeah, I mean, the counter damage really does add up against the Shadow Scizor, and it doesn't want to take these rock slides either. We'll have to give up an early shield to protect that potential, that the Shadow Scizor has, as it's now built up a lot of energy. Will throw the first Night Slash, will not get shielded by Heisenberg.
Not all protection for the Scizor, and Heisenberg going to go for the Psycho Boost here.
We did see a swap there into Mew. So this Psycho Boost does resisted damage.
Nice
Now-
catch by Wadaj, seeing the Psycho Boost coming, but now Shadow Scizor comes in and gets to set up against this Mew. And I mean, it was a lovely catch, Kaz, but sometimes those unnecessary catches can put you into situations like this here, and this Mew is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, Wadaj has given up all shields to protect its mons. Will throw a Dragon Claw, but that resisted damage is not really a threat to even the Sizzle.
That was a huge no shield call there by Heisenberg. That was wild charge energy from this Mew, and Heisenberg took it thinking the Dragon Claw was coming and correctly predicting that, and now Scizor just able to get to this Night Slash, wipe this Mew out of the matchup, and have a little bit of residual energy here. Should it
one
get
more
to a
Night
Mew
Slash
here?
loaded, I believe, for whatever
I think
comes
it's
in
short.
next. But we'll...
Yeah.
Oh, just a little short. So we'll do the swap instead into the Whiscash to counter the opposing Shadow Scizor and their energy.
Yeah, and I love this play by Heisenberg. If you think that Altaria is in the back, you get a lot of energy here on Whiscash, farm it up, and have that Blizzard locked and loaded. Scizor
with no
is
boost
going to get the final shield.
Yeah, we'll get the final shield, but with no boost from the Night Slashes on Wadaj's side, can safely take this damage to get off the first Mud Bomb here.
Yeah, and you see a little bit of an undercharge there, but not much, and it is indeed Altaria in the back, Kaz, and it's a race. Did Heisenberg save enough energy? Indeed, Heisenberg did, and Heisenberg is cooking now. Here comes the blue crystals. The Bora just erases Altaria in one shot, and Heisenberg's gonna pick up the 2-1, and again, Italy doubling up America 12-6 for 6 matches.
My goodness, what a smart play in the end there to have that Whiscash waiting in the back with such good coverage for both Scizor and the Altaria. I mean, if you can get the energy advantage on that Whiscash, I mean, it is good night, Burb.
Yeah, good night, my only. Heisenberg showing why Daddy Cash deserves respect in this meta with that ground ice coverage here. It was a pleasure to see that Altaria take that Blizzard, because I am going to be off for the next few sets, y'all, so I'm sorry. I got to recharge. I got to get my energy levels back up. I got to get more Coke, because these battles have been absolutely intense so far. I mean, no matter how many times we see Shadow Scizor on this field, the energy management around it, the shield management, and the absolute dominance of the boost from the Italians has my heart pounding. It's all you can ask for. It's so much more exciting than Ember. I'm sorry. I'll keep bashing Ember into the ground. Anyway, so we are going to turn things over to the English compatriots here, and we know this is Rigel Starlight, aka Callum's first Gymbreaker stream. Brooke, you're putting in some work because I need to take a break. So enjoy your time on the stream. We'll get you back to Callum and Adelian, aka London's finest.
Thank you very much, AJ. And whilst you refill yourself on some Coke, I've got some lovely Belgian chocolate milkshake with me right here. Shells, if you're watching, your country does have the best chocolate. So, Adelian, how did you feel about those battles there?
Yeah, I really, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed seeing the Blizzard at the end there. That's always entertaining to watch that land. So yeah, all in all, very good fun. And look, here we have our next matchups, and both players I've actually met. I think Leo in Chester and Dunebug in London for the World Championships. 2 absolute phenomenal players. And what's even more amusing, both of them have been rank 1 on the Silph leaderboards, on the global Silph leaderboards in days past. So both of them are giant heavyweights in the Silph world, and they've got some awesome teams as well with that Shadow Walrein and the Wormadam, which is something always fun to see in the Naiad Cup. Have you come across Wormadam at all in any of your Naiad tournaments?
Well, I've mostly just been spectating Naiad, but I have seen a lot of Wormadam. Typically on teams a bit weaker to Altaria, they'll opt for the confusion. But I mean, you've got a Shadow Wall Rain there. If anything's going to pressure an Altaria, it's going to be that. So we could potentially see a Bug Bite for Deoxys, but we'll just have to see how Doombug chooses to approach us. I mean, as you mentioned, this is probably the most stacked you could have a pair of two legends in Silph history, and I'm really, really excited to see some of the plays we'll see here.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So let's get straight into the battles. Let's see what magic these two can work up for us as the Italian faces the American. Wormadam does go up against the Altaria, not revealing the moveset, instant response into the Shadow Wall Rain, and so Leonardo chooses to opt straight into his Shadow Sizzle, which gets the first move off, which makes sense with Shadow Wall Rain being quite squishy. This Night Slash might be enough to put it into Bullet Punch farm down range, but Wall Rain surviving and now rushing for the double Icicle Spear potentially, but this could be an Earthquake for as far as Leonardo is concerned. Is there a shield? There is a shield. The bait is successful on this occasion. Callum, feel free to take it away here.
I think it's a smart bait because you've always got to be wary of that Earthquake, and most people, when they're that low on health, typically will renew because they know they're going to get the hard-hitting move. So recognition of Doombug to get any chip damage possible. So this is some of the high-level play that we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of this match. Doombug choosing to wait out the clock, and we can finally see that Wormadam, and it is indeed the Bug Bite, likely for that Deoxys, and we already know just how strong most one-turn fast moves are. See a Night Slash coming through, not too much damage, but chooses to bank that move, and we see an Altaria mirror come in here.
I like this play to bank a move on the Sizzle because it can be so dangerous and do a lot of damage. And now the Wall Rain is out of the way, this he can safely swap in this his own Altaria, knowing that the best response may just be an enemy Altaria, well not enemy, an opposing Altaria from Doombug's side. So now Doombug is able to get a Sky Attack off in response in order to chip away at this Altaria. This goes no shield. It's actually this will KO. So see Leonardo choosing to keep his final shield, and now he has a choice here. Does he risk bringing in the Sizzle with the Night Slash? But I don't think that will KO. Or does he bring in the Greedent just to completely farm this down? Choosing to go for the Greedent here, which I think is sensible. Altaria at another move, but may be able to get to the Moonblast. Chooses to just go for the Sky Attack here, but will this tease out a shield from C. Leonardo's side? No shield on this occasion.
I do believe coming in with Greedent was the correct play, as that Scizor is such a low health. If they have any sort of one-turn lag, or not one-turn lag, sorry, but sort of one-turn delay, which you often see from a swap-in after a Pokemon dies, that would mean that you don't get the move and you just sack your Scizor for no reason. So we see a fully loaded Greedent here going for those crunches. A debuff here would be huge, as that would definitely allow a Night Slash as strong as from a Shadow Scizor to be able to KO. We do see a no shield here.
I think
a charge move priority event.
Yeah, I think it was good for Doombug to throw here because he does not want to take any more damage here. But this is where the Night Slash that's been banked from C. Leonardo's side might be enough. But no, one-turn move, which means the Bug Bite is able to go through before the move, before Sizzle was able to throw that Night Slash. Exactly what you were worried about, Callum, there in that match, as 1 HP means that the one-turn fast move does inflict its damage on a Pokemon before a charge move can be thrown. So that is the correct way the game works. But yes, it's a bit unfortunate for C. Leonardo banking that move only to not be able to use it on this occasion, because that Night Slash from that range would have taken the Wormadam out. So we move on to Battle 2 as Quagsire faces off against Altaria, and Quagsire does have the Stone Edge, which Altaria has to be wary of. Callum, do you want to take it away?
It's very hard hitting, but the mud shots are just going to do absolutely nothing to this Altaria, and we've seen time and time again throughout these battles just how strong these Dragonless are. You can comfortably no shield the first, as we see Doombug do, and swapping onto the Wormadam here. I'm actually not confident on this matchup with the Bug Bite. Obviously, I think it's leaning in Wormadam's favour, but time and time again, we also see a Crunch debuff able to flip matchups just like it, but no debuff coming through. So two of you going straight, is that going for the Bug Buzz here? Yeah, I think that's the right play given just how strong Buzz is as a move and the potential chance for a debuff. So would you like to take over here, Adelio?
Yeah, no problem. So at this point, it's the Greedent is now in farm down rage, Greedent choosing to throw another crunch here, which will bring Wormadam exceptionally close to being taken out here. So this might rest on whether there's another debuff here. No debuff, and there's a little bit of a stutter, little bit. Oh, actually no, both Pokemon are deliberately trying to not get the KO so that they can have farm on the Pokemon that comes in. So this is a stall game here. This is definitely them just trying to switch out, and the Scizor is able to get the move in first and get some farm down here, which is very nice. Shadow Scizor, we know with a bit of energy can be so dangerous, but the Altaria coming in straight away going, nope, I do not want this Scizor to get ahead of me, deciding to go for the Sky Attack and chip away at the Scizor nice and early. The first shield is used in this battle as C. Leonardo now farms up more and more energy and decides to go for a charge move priority. Excellent timing from C. Leonardo there, using the Scizor's greater attack to beat the Altaria to the move. Callum, feel free to take away.
Very great timing from Leonardo. As you mentioned, he's an excellent battler. I've been in a few calls with him. For a while, he was actually on Team UK, so I had the pleasure of being able to see him battle and see some of his thinking, and he just had the perfect farm up there. And now we see this energy is going to be really useful into this Walrein, forcing Doombug on whether to call a bait or shield for Nuke. But we do see the shield come in here, which could be very big for Doombug here. As we see, he's very close to that Earthquake, and just a misattempted catch from Leonardo there. Very unlucky, but we could see a survive into a Stone Edge here. I'm not quite sure how much a Shadow Walrein does with an Earthquake, but it must be a lot. And
KO's at this rate.
just
Wow.
takes the KO.
Now this is tricky because the Scizor won't be able to KO with the Night Slash here. The Iron Head is going to be neutral damage here, but it's a race to get to the move. But unfortunately, Scizor is so weak on health at this point that the Icicle Sphere from the Shadow Walrein will be enough to KO. And now Walrein can just sweep at this point, just chip away with a Powder Snow, and then there we have it. So. That was pretty close, but that Shadow Walrein really did put in work in order to give Doombug the win there. It's getting close. It was pretty close, but I think that was Doombug had that in control with the Shadow Walrein. So we move on to the next battle and see if C. Leonardo can clinch another win, or whether Doombug is able to get some wins back and close up that lead between the United States and Italy as Miltank faces off against Quagsire. Callum, feel free to take it away, mate.
Once again, going for the Quagsire lead. I mean, that perfect coverage of the Stone Edge and the Earthquake is going to be useful no matter what you land into, so it makes a lot of sense. Body Slam coming in here. Not going to do too much. Quag is quite thick, quite bulky, and he takes that perfectly on the nose. We see a big Earthquake coming through here. Potentially a swap out after this if it lands, but no, we see the shield from Doombug, clearly knowing that energy on Miltank is very powerful here. And we do, in fact, see the swap out from C. Leonardo, with Scizor kind of resisting these tackles, if you can call it resisting, as we get another Body Slam come through. This will do a decent chunk, but C. Leonardo does choose to elect to shield here. Is he potentially going to go straight for the Iron Head? No, he goes for the bait here.
I think he was concerned about the Miltank throwing the Thunderbolt on the Scizor, which would do a huge amount of energy, but he did deliberate quite a bit before throwing that shield, going for double Night Slash to ensure this Miltank is taken out. No shield on Doombug's side. Doombug happy to let it go at this point in order to bring in another Pokemon in order to respond. It will be the Altaria here, which, while dealing resisted Dragon Breath damage, this is on a Shadow Scizor. The defenses are somewhat frail on Shadow Scizor, so Scizor going, right, I'm going to do as much damage as possible. Let me get out those Night Slash and chip away at this Altaria sooner rather than later. And now Altaria builds up to that Sky Attack, farming up a bit more. And then does he throw in time? No, he doesn't have to throw. He farms down just as Scizor gets to the Night Slash. Excellent play there by Doombug just to get that matchup over by the skin of his teeth. Excellent play. And now the choice is Greedent versus Altaria. This Altaria, I believe, is in Body Slam KO range now, isn't it, Callum?
After the tackle damage, yes, I'd imagine so, or at least be very close to permit a tackle down afterwards. And we see an instant swap into the Walrein here. C. Leonardo is in quite a tough position because this Walrein is very healthy and he'll still need energy on either Quag or Greedent in order to take out the Altaria. So let's see if he's able to go up with condition here. Shields up the Icicle Spear. It is off a Shadow Walrein, so it will do a great amount of damage. And electing to go for the Body Slam, likely recognizing he's probably going to get to 2 if he throws another Icicle Spear. Yes, that does just over half. So another KO and a catch from C. Leonardo.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that what was even crazy about that is that catch wasn't straight on 5 either. Like there was a little bit of like Dunebug over farmed a little bit and still Cielano caught it. But it might not be enough because now the Walrein is just able to farm down and Greedent doesn't have the body slam ready to go. And even if he did, I believe there was a shield on Walrein's side. Walrein dominating this matchup. 2 battles in a row. This Walrein has been of huge help to Dunebug to just tease that win in a matchup where C. Leonardo is trying to catch. He's trying to do some magical things, but that Walrein dominating, especially as a shadow here. So well played to Dunebug there. Another win in the bag, and that lead is now smaller as Italy leads by 3 wins against USA, 12-9 so far.
That was such a fantastic undercharge at the end. I mean, recognizing sort of perfect farm down just before getting to the Stone Age and maximizing your energy. That's the sort of play you can expect from Dunebug, a Silph champion, and that was very entertaining to watch.
And speaking of entertaining, we now move on to another matchup. Emma Lang plays against Elite. We've seen Elite earlier when we last commentated on the stream. We're just looking at the teams here. The Galv does look pretty strong here. A lot of fast move pressure, especially for that Shadow Sizzle. But of course, it is sorry, not Shadow Sizzle, for the Walrein. But of course, the Galv also being quite squishy, and that does have to be mindful of the fact that it will get outpaced by so many things on Elite's side. Excuse me. Anything you want to comment on, Callum, before the battle start?
I mean, it's very close to a mirror match, but I think Emma Lange's Shadow Sizzle is looking just slightly stronger on their side due to the fact that they don't have a bullet punch resist outside of their own Shadow Sizzle. And I really think if we see any boost from Emma Lange, we could see a really powerful Sizzle sweep come through in one of the games here. So very excited to see if Emma Lange chooses to bring this in this game.
Yes, definitely. So, without further ado, let's jump into the battles as they come, and let's see who can win this. And we get an Altaria mirror match, which is going to be entertaining. Oh, these battles are sped up as well. So, we have the Altaria going straight in with the Sky attack here. No shield on Emma Lang's side, and trying to get a potential catching note. Doesn't manage it. Now, the Greedent's responding to the Deoxys here, but the Deoxys does go for the Rock Slide first before Greedent responds with a crunch. Let's see if there's a debuff here, Callum, if you want to take it.
Interesting decision to swap the normal type onto a counter user, but obviously that crunch puts on a big shield pressure for them. Elects to let this next Rock Slide through, and we may see a massive bullet punch down. As mentioned earlier, Sizzle looks very scary for Elite if Emma Lange is able to get energy here, and we may be able to see a Night Slash plus bullet punch farm down. That's
up. Yeah, apologies there for those watching. The speed of the battle was so quick that felt it was necessary to restart the battle at the normal pace so that we could more easily see what happens. So yes, we're seeing the Altaria mirror again, and this time, if you recall from earlier, there was a swap out into the Deoxys. Altaria staying in a little bit on Emma Lange's side to build up some more energy before Greedent comes in, but a little bit of a downside. It did mean the Deoxys gets a lot more energy off from that Altaria, which it can then now use against the Greedent to start spamming out these Rock Slides. But as you mentioned earlier, Callum, the Greedent's crunch and the potential for a debuff can flip many matchups, so a shield does come out on Elite's side to avoid the damage this crunch would do. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, looking at the back line of Zero Elite Zero, I think it's actually a very smart play from Emma Lange here to just sack off the Greedent and use it to take a shield advantage, because as you can see, it's not got the greatest of matchup into Sizzle. We've got a mirror match lead with the Altaria, as we saw earlier, so it just didn't have as much play as it typically does in most matchups. So to elect to get that shield advantage with Sizzle there, I think that was a very smart play if Emma Lange was reading the backline correctly here. And we do see a forced shield with the Rock Slide. This will do a considerable amount of damage, and the Altaria coming back in, as we saw earlier. Emma Lange going straight for the Night Slash. I don't remember if we saw whether this boosted or not. But
I think it cut out. I think we reset it at this point. So
right, yeah.
but this is good timing here because now look at that. It was able to swap in, get the farm down, and now has a lot of energy. And now what's the issue? The issue here is that Deoxys will be KO'd by that Sky Attack straight away. The Sizzle does not want to take out a move. So now the potential farm down coming in, and Altaria able to sweep out. Now this is going to be huge because there's 2 Sky Attacks loaded on this Altaria. Shadow Sizzle does not want to withstand 1, let alone 2. The shield comes out on Elite's side, but will it be able to get another one off? Potentially, it is able to get another one off, and this Shadow Sizzle is going to take a huge amount of damage from this Altaria. This may be significant as Altaria falls finally to the bullet punch, having putting in so much work, and now we can see Avalanche going, right, I've got the energy, I've got the advantage. That Night Slash is definitely going to tear through the opposing Sizzle to get that KO, and now Avalanche wins that first battle. Italy's lead increases by 1, and Elite needs to draw them back in these next 2 battles. That was close, wasn't it? That was impressive. 2 Sky Attacks on the Altaria, Callum.
It was extremely close, and I think it was a fantastic recognition of Avalanche all game, recognizing that they'll get the Dragon Breath down, recognizing that they'd live 3 bullet punches in order to get both Sky Attacks off, so choosing to elect to get the 1 extra Dragon Breath damage as opposed to just insta-clicking the moves and not getting the Dragon Breath through. I think that was very masterful gameplay, and now we see a Shadow Sizzle mirror. Oh, I love bug types. Anyone who knows me knows that. So I'm very excited to see how this match goes. An attempted catch from Avalanche, and now we see War Rain come in. This is going to be absolutely disastrous.
And this is the risk, unfortunately, with safe swapping into Altaria. If you are Avalanche, unfortunately, most trainers in the Night Cup were running a Wall Rain, and Wall Rain was put in there specifically to be a hard answer to the Altaria. This Wall Rain can just farm all the way up to 100 energy before throwing. There may even be an argument for a slight undercharge here, but no, Elite choosing just to get rid of this Altaria straight away. And now the answer is from Avalanche is whether I bring the Shadow Sizzle in, which resists the ice moves, or go for the Galv, which has a super effective matchup, but you'll have to shield. Therefore, Elite blindly going for the Icicle Sphere here, which actually makes sense because you may be predicting the Sizzle was going to lead, but this is also fine. Avalanche choosing no shield on this Icicle Sphere, surprisingly. So let's see if a farm down is possible before the next move. There is no chance of a farm down. Avalanche will have to shield the next Icicle Sphere.
Very unfortunate for Emma there with the just clutch survive on the Wall Rain. Probably assumed that you'd get it in the 2 Bolt Switches, but now you have a loaded Galv, but the Night Slash coming through, forcing Galv to shield again in order to get this debuff off. Perhaps this was a risky move from Emma's part, but let's see. Going straight for the discharge instead of the lunge bait. I think Sizzle should shield regardless.
No way.
Elects to let it go. Oh my. I suppose
what
you
have we
can
just
safely
seen?
2-shield your Deoxys and get some rock slides through even though it's debuffed.
Yes, that would actually make sense because these counters, even though they're resisted on Galvantia, they will be problematic. They will still be problematic over time. But now the Sizzle coming in, there's so much loaded energy, but there's 2 Night Slashes at ready from Sizzle's side onto the Deoxys, but Deoxys can tank 1 even if it's a shadow. But what if there's a boost? And it's a charge move priority event as the rock slide comes in, so Sizzle can't even get the next Night Slash off. So this Deoxys is now going to be really good.
Well, it is
it's
debuffed, so it does in fact survive thanks to that lunge debuff. So actually, unfortunately, that not paying off for Elite, that no shield was potentially actually the lose condition. As we see another boost come through. Oh my goodness.
Just by the skin of the
No. Sorry, I should have recognised that Galvantula was completely dry then. No, this was in fact the safe play for Elite after all. So very well played, well recognised on your ability to tank a Night Slash and close that game out versus the Galvantula. Very well played.
It's crazy that too. We are thinking about we as casters, we're watching this and thinking about, oh yeah, what's in the back and how much energy. For these battlers, they're having to remember all of this there and then. Now, some people will use notepads to try and keep a note of things, but really, it's an impressive, show of memory games with remembering that actually that Galvantula is quite low, and I reckon I can outpace to a move there right at the very end. So high level pace, high level foresight as we go into the 3rd battle now.
Against Polymers Up.
Apparently against Polymers Up, but not quite.
I believe that's potentially the next match.
So the Deoxys faces off against Emalange's Galvantula here. So Deoxys is opting to no shield this lunge, which won't KO, but will do a huge amount of damage. But even with the debuff, I reckon that Deoxys will be able to KO this Galvantula even with the 10% debuff. No, I'm incorrect, and it does survive. And does that mean Galva will be able to get to a move first? It's a charge move priority event again. Wow, what foresight to know that Galva would survive that move. Take it away, Callum. What do you reckon will happen here now?
Very good recognition from Elite's part, but now this allows another Sizzle bomb down from Elite, and we see the Shadow Sizzle mirror coming through. However, Elite does have the energy advantage here, so it could still be flipped with Melange if they're able to get a bait, but this is looking like a pretty solid position for Elite so far. Of course, we can't see what's in the back for Melange, so we may have to do a bit of the guessing game here.
Well, then this at least allows to give a perspective from Elite's side as to what he could be thinking in terms of what's in the back here. So now a shield has gone out on both sides here. Maybe fishing for a charge move priority event there again, as Elite overfarms slightly in order to, and then throws, or just to fake the Iron Head. Does he get to another move? Just manages so close. So close as he gets to one more Night Slash, which will force that final shield to come out. Oh, actually, sorry, no, I take that back. There were no shields left there, and now it's Altari into Wall Rain, and that's that. Now that is where the shield advantage is going to disappear there. This Wall Rain is going to be able to tank a Sky Attack potentially, and get to 2 Icicle Spheres. The only play was if that Altaria had some energy and could get to a Moonblast in time, but I don't think it's possible, and Altaria opting for the Sky Attack here just to see how close the Altaria can get the Wall Rain to, but it's actually quite close, but no, Wall Rain just about survives and is able to get that Icicle Sphere off. So Amalange able to surprise Elite at the end there with that Wall Rain in the back. Again, we have just seen another demonstration. Dominance of the Wall Rain, but the Sizzle tries to make a comeback. Just 1 HP, Wall Rain surviving. That was actually a lot closer than we thought at first. Really close.
Even as a Shadow, Wall Rain showing off its fantastic bulk there. And yeah, completely 1 HP match. That was very entertaining watch, given how similar the teams were. I think that was just a pure display of skill and of backline recognition. So that was very entertaining.
So the match, it seems to be both teams are holding their three win lead. Sorry, Italy's holding their 3-win lead. Every time the US just gets a bit closer, the Italy's like, nope, I'll just get one more win. Emilan's really putting in work there in this matchup. So yeah, this has been fun. This has been exciting so far. Let's see what else comes through now. How you finding
where we'll see the polymers up match, I assume?
Possibly. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see.
How are you finding commentating so far, anyhow?
The fact that I'm here with you, Adelian, that just makes it perfect. I'm having a fantastic time.
It's like a romance, this. So yeah, as we folks, for those of you watching, as we wait for the next set of battles to be set up in due course, I wanted to get your comments on what you reckon was what standout Pokemon you really liked in this Nide Cup meta, and whether you have had a preference with this new wave system to front load on the Ember Cup, or indeed on the Nide Cup in the second month of this wave. If there's any preferences, by all means, do feel free to rattle them off. I think there was quite a lot of fans for the Wall Rain in that last matchup there. I think that was pretty much a consistent thing where Wall Rain has been in pretty much every team I've seen in Nide Cup. But I'm pleasantly surprised by how much Shadow Sizzle there is. I didn't actually consider that Pokemon too much in my teams. But yeah, I guess. Anything stand out for you?
Well, as mentioned earlier, I was very excited to see that Mantine in place. I mean, you don't see very often, and has great potential against the rising popularity. Shadow Sizzle has play against the Altaria. However, it does struggle against Walrein, which is most people's go-to as their Altaria check, and doesn't have the greatest matchup with Deoxys, as you always have to be wary of that potential Thunderbolt that they might have.
Yes.
Most Deoxys obviously electing to go for the Rock Slide here, which still even then does great damage on the Mantine, so perhaps a bit risky, but I was very happy to see that in play in the last match that we commentated over.
Lovely to hear it. So we have a little bit of excitement now. AJ has had to disappear off for a bit, but don't worry, folks. There's been a stand-in, a very known face to many of you on the European circuit, as Nexusilia will be joining Hurricane Kaz as the next two casters. So please welcome them in, and we will see a bit more of Callum later on. But I will be disappearing for now as well. Tool Pip, and take care, everyone.
Hello there.
Hello, Nexus. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Great. So glad you could join us for some of these last sets in Gymbreakers. I don't know if you've been tuned in at all, but they've been pretty exciting so far.
Yeah, I at least read a bit in chats where a couple of my friends were discussing about how exciting the matches were. And let's just say one of the next competitors, aka Hot Pocket 777, wasn't exactly too happy with how his first matchup turned out. But
yeah, not
surely,
but
surely it's gonna improve.
Yeah, but we do see Heisenberg have that Shadow Scizor that has been such a star in the matchups so far.
Yeah, I've heard Shadow Scizor has been putting in quite some work, and looking at that team, I can definitely see why. Resisting everything but the Earthquake from the Walrein, only taking neutral from DD while hitting him for super effective Night Slashes, same with Mew. Greedent, you also just double resist the Bullet Seeds, and it has to crunch, which one does not KO despite you being as squishy as you are. And then Altaria, also Dragon Breaths are resisted, but they still chunk quite a lot. So
exactly. I mean, it's not the bulkiest, but can deal out a lot of neutral damage in the meantime. And especially if we see more of those epic boosts as we've been getting so far.
Get the boost, always a win con. There's always the boost con.
Yeah, if you can have enough shields to get enough Night Slashes off to get that boost. So let's see how it shakes out in these matches here. Right? Oh, great.
We see the Greedent into the Altaria lead with Tackle. So this is quite neutral. The Greedent will outpace the Body Slams here. And if it throws one Body Slam, it will also outpace the Crunches after. We see the terrible CP Mew in the back and the Scissor, which gonna be quite interesting to see what Pocket brought in the back. Pocket brought in the back.
We don't judge Mew CPs here because not everyone you only get 2 chances. So whatever you gotta use. You gotta find a way to make it work. And so we do see Greedent now has plenty of energy on it to let off, even though we've seen the swap out from Altaria into the opposing Greedent from Hot Pocket.
Yep, Heisenberg deciding here to throw the second Body Slam before swapping out to get this opposing Greedent into easy farm down rage for potentially the Scissor, or even still staying in. Yeah, knowing how good the Scissor can be against the Altaria later on, doesn't even need to save the Greedent for that matchup.
Exactly. Heisenberg easily lets the Greedent go here, and will be able to get some nice farm down on, I suspect, the Shadow Scizor.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful how he forced the Greedent to throw its energy, because otherwise he would have just reached another Body Slam. However, Hot Pocket's still able to reach another charge move here, and we'll see. It is a crunch. Correct shield by Heisenberg here. And
no debuff either.
Even gets 2 more bullet punches, which is absolutely huge.
We'll have to give up the second shield here. Suspect? No, going to let this Sky Attack go does so much damage. Goodness.
Yeah, very ballsy no shield there, knowing that he will be able to tank it barely and hold on to still use the energy that it got from farming down that Greedent.
But now we see, and this Mew does have a different move set from what we've seen so far. This unsuspecting Walrein is going to be met with a Grass Knot. Are they going to put up their first shield, not knowing what this Mew has? No! We see the Grass Knot go through for so much damage!
Yeah, very good call by Heisenberg to not bait here, knowing that Hot Pocket will likely just stake out the moveset and therefore is rather unlikely to shield. Now the wall range should be in Dragon Claw range, and even if it would tank it, it would go down to the coming in Shadow Claws after.
Exactly. Such a great play from Heisenberg. Now we see that Altaria come back in and will easily be met by a Dragon Claw from this Mew. We have
Although the shield is still up, but
Yeah,
I
we
don't
do
think the
have
Scissor
one
will be able to reach another charge move. It will definitely be quite close with the Bullet Punch damage as well.
It has that energy already? No, not even
It
close.
did throw the charge move just before switching out. However, yeah, the Bullet Punch is not quite enough, and the resistant Dragon Breath's just pulling it out of the ballpark and finishing off that Scissor.
Exactly. Man, such a good play to get rid of that Scizor by, forcing that energy throw early on. But now that we know the moveset on Heisenberg's Mew, we have grass damage in play, and that makes the Walrein and the Quagsire from Hot Pocket much less safe.
Yeah, especially the Quagsire with that double weakness. It may be the only weakness, but it's just so weak to it that it cannot tank a single grass move, no matter what grass type move it would be, and
even if
which
it's
Pokemon.
Yeah, even if it's not stabbed. So we see Heisenberg now has the Deoxys out front to try and threaten this Altaria a little bit more.
Yeah, this matchup is quite neutral, as yes, Deoxys does outpace to the moves, and the Rock Slides do hit for super effective with two-shotting the Altaria as well. However, Dragon Breaths do chunk quite a lot, especially due to Deoxys' defensive nature.
And
as
a
it's
beautiful catch onto
yes.
the Deoxys from Hot Pocket there, saving some energy on Altaria for later.
Yeah, we see the Rock Slide basically not doing any damage to the Deoxys here. Both running the same moveset of Rock Slide Psycho Boost, I meant to say.
Mm-hmm. We do see this Heisenberg Shadow Scizor come out to greet this Deoxys. Oh gosh, that Night Slash, even unboosted, does so much damage to the pure Psychic Deoxys. My goodness.
Yeah, Shadow boosts are just way too powerful, and it makes it hit like a truck no matter what moves you throw.
We definitely see the shields plus Scizor equals win condition put into play here as the first shield goes up from Heisenberg, and now the second to protect the energy on this Scizor.
Oh, Hot Pocket does still have the shield advantage, even with shielding this Night Slash. Still up one shield, and let's see if this Greedent is able to close it out with that shield advantage. Oh my god, they did get the boost! And Pocket throwing 3 Dragon Breaths, taking 2 more Bullet Punches worth of damage, which is absolutely disastrous with that boost. However, there is no real fast move pressure onto the Altaria, so it still should be able to reach another charge move quite easily.
Exactly, especially against the Greedent, but we do see Hot Pocket bring in their own Greedent, so we have some more squirrel on squirrel violence, as we've already seen so many times in the Naiad Cup so far.
Yeah, these squirrels love tackling each other. It's like a rugby game out here, or American football. It's absolutely insane, and now they even body slam each other. It's absolutely violent.
Very, very rude.
No, Michael replacing my camera.
You've become fish now.
I am fish.
And we do see the Deoxys still in the back and still holding onto some energy.
Oh, Hot Pocket going for the crunch here.
Goodness, this will knock out the Heisenberg's squirrel. The squirrel does not. Hot Pocket Squirrel does not have enough energy to throw anything against the opposing Deoxys, so will Deoxys be able to get to this Rock Slide and get rid of the Altaria? No! I think that was a critical, over tap there, it looked like.
It could have Psycho Boosted, however, Pocket does still have a shield, so...
I guess that's
not
true.
Quite able to reach 2 charge moves in time with Altaria's residual energy from before.
Oh, I forgot that Hot Pocket still had a shield, and I thought that was, with all that energy that Deoxys had, I thought it would be like an easy win condition there, but unfortunately, not so.
Yeah, Pocket absolutely saved that shield for the very end, perhaps even predicting that his Altaria will need it simply to be able to close it out against no matter which Pokemon, especially considering Heisenberg does not run the Walrein, which has that fast move pressure.
Yeah, Altaria, like Hot Pocket's Altaria looks so strong against this team if you can save that shield. So very smart play there. We see again
we see
a little
the
bit of a
same
swap.
lead. We see the same lead matchup, but if I recall, it was the same way around. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it was reversed
was it?
last time. It was Heisenberg's Deoxys against.
Right, and Hot Pocket caught. Right.
Yeah. So they both took the cue and just swapped it up a little bit.
Yep. But as I was about to say in the last matchup, so Altaria's matchup against Deoxys isn't all that bad because Deoxys is very bulky. However, its bulk is not coming from its HP stat, but rather from its defense stat, which works very well for one-turn fast moves.
Yeah, very, very well noted. And we do see Hot Pocket reaching for the immediate greeted swap there as we're met by the Shadow Scizor from Heisenberg.
These tackles are absolutely chunking away from this Scissor's health.
I know,
However,
resistant
so do the
damage,
bullet punches.
Resistant damage.
Yeah, Scissor just does not like fast moves. Doesn't like charge moves either, but at least it can shield those. And Hot Pocket going for the body slam, knowing full well that even the body slam would do a devastating amount to the Scissor.
Yeah, I mean, we see how much damage the tackles themselves have already done, so you gotta start throwing up shields to protect that Scissor, because as we know, shields on Scissor usually equals some wins.
Yeah, the boost con is ever so imminent, and just as I say it, there it is. The boost con has showed up.
Exactly. So we see the second shield going up from Heisenberg, now protecting not only that energy, but the overpowered attack stat of this Shadow Scizor as well.
Oh my god, that bullet punch damage was absolutely gnarly. Let's see if he gets the bait. The Iron Head would do 70%, I think, so it will be very scary. And he does get the bait. Should be able to reach the Iron Head. Will a catch occur? Not able to catch. Oh my god, he is able to put him down. And he gets off the Iron Head.
Boosted Iron Head against the Altaria, which is going to do, if this does not KO the Altaria, it's going to significantly lower that health. My goodness. And we have a full health Greedent coming out. Oh my gosh, a full health Greedent will not have any issues tackling down that Altaria. Good gracious, Heisenberg, with another boost, closing out that match, securing yet another point for Italy.
Yeah, the boost con is, like I said, ever so imminent. Absolutely scary, and that's absolutely one of the points which make Scissor even better than it already is.
It's literally one of the most terrifying things you can see on, like, the battle screen, is that boost animation. Like, no! No!
It's perhaps one of the scariest things when you face a Scissor, a Primeape, or even an Obstagoon.
Exactly.
Like, those RNG-based boosts are just absolutely freaking everyone out, especially when the opponent happens to get them.
You know, Heisenberg's, I mean, we've seen before how that Shadow Scizor is overpowered, and Hot Pocket seems to be running out of options here. We know that the water types are threatened by the reveal of the grass type damage from Mew. We know that the Shadow Scizor is going to be waiting in the back, protected. So what do you do? What do you bring in here?
Oh, if I recall correctly, that was game 3, so Hot Pocket fortunately does no longer have to think about that.
Okay, well,
quite lucky that although Heisenberg did achieve the goal of scaring away the water types with that with that grass knot reveal, as we haven't seen a single one of them in the second and third game.
Exactly, very smart play. So we do have our next set of battles here, and we see a Galvantula now on both teams, and no Shadow Scizor. My goodness, I'm not even used to seeing that on my screen now, that lack of the red bug.
Yeah, no boosts in this matchup, right? Yeah.
Nope, only the debuffs from Gal.
Only the debuffs, and from Greedent potentially.
Ooh, one can only hope. So we do see some, like, I think we have mirror match here? Yeah.
It is a mirror match. Both are running the exact same team.
The only question we really have
quite
is,
interesting to see how they will play it out.
Is the move set on that Mew the same? Now that we've seen one Mew have a divergent Mew set, I'm really curious to see others. So let's get into these battles and see if we can find out.
Yeah, one of the things about Gymbreakers especially is you have to check what moveset you want to run based on both your opponents, which means they might be running different movesets based on what their second pairmate is running respectively.
Was that a Mew pun I heard right there?
It always is. It always is.
Beautiful, love it. So
We do see the tackle Greedent again.
immediate safe swap into that tackle Greedent. I mean, other than the Deoxys on Magic Mason's side, Greedent doesn't really have a lot of really direct threats, so it is one of the safest swaps we could possibly see here.
Yeah, even the Deoxys, while it does hit it for super effective, we are back in the mirror.
Everyone's like, you know what the best way to deal with a tanky spam monster is? My own tanky spam monster.
Yeah, if you don't have a solution to the problem, just be part of it. And
I'm gonna make this
that
a
does
problem.
work quite a lot.
Exactly. I mean, the opposing Greedent coming in does have a lot more health and is able to get Vitalizon's Greedent off the field.
Yeah, winning CMP there was absolutely crucial with that body slam KOing as Vitalizio wanted to throw a crunch but wasn't able to as Magic Mason won CMP. And we do see yet another charge move coming in from that absolutely thick bunny before a lunge squirrel bunny.
Rodent, mammal of some kind. And
exactly, it's all the same, right?
Yeah, same family, same difference. And so now we see Magic Mason let go of his squirrel finally, and an immediate safe swap. Oh, and another Fury Cutter Galv!
Yeah, the emotions are absolutely roller coastering. Seeing that typing in the top right corner, once you switch it to the wall rain, only to see, oh, it's not Volt Switch. This is actually playable. I'm fine.
Yeah, this is actually quite good. So we do see a massive pile of energy on this wall rain. Will throw the first Icicle Spear, trying to force some shields. Gets the first shield from Magic Mason, but now shields are even across the board.
Yeah, Vitalizio just has to pretty much defend this wall rain as they know that it is the Altaria in the back, which was the lead already. So the wall rain will be absolutely disastrous if it does get rid of the Galvantula.
We do see the second shield come up, as you say, protect the wall rain so that it can have that matchup against Altaria in the back.
Oh, the Icicle Spear likely will not KO due to all those debuffs. However, A, they can switch and reset the debuff, and B, they can even catch a move potentially with that. And they do try to go for exactly that. However, Magic Mason properly timing his move and throwing in the middle of the Powder Snow animation. Yeah, no shields remaining.
Gets that wall rain off the field so that Altaria can come in and sweep the back end. Interesting play with that Fury Cutter. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier with Drayflame said it was an actual mistake, but I do wonder if this one was. We're hearing from our staff fish in the back that this one was actually a dispute. I guess there was probably that one bit of turn difference there. Let's see, so we've got another one coming up. So this is the replay, and we have two normal types here, but one is a Miltank, which doesn't appear to be on. I'm confused.
That is correct, Mr. Michael. What is happening? What are we looking at? Why is there a Miltank?
I'm gonna have to consult our editor afterwards. I don't know why that would be. Chat is saying I think it was the Dunebug team, and Mason played his own team and not Dune's team. Okay. So yeah, this was okay, so I'm gonna
dispute. Yeah, so the dispute was that an actual a different team was used than one that was registered.
Yeah.
That does explain what the dispute was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we also have a totally different set of mons available here. So now it's all becoming clear.
Yeah, we don't see Mason's team, but perhaps that's even more exciting, as now we saw a Miltank, now we see a Wormadam. What else does he have in his back pocket? It is, however, a Bugbyte Wormadam.
Yeah, a Bugbyte Wormadam is definitely not going to do as much against this Altaria. Altaria does not have as much to fear from this bug. Even the Iron Head, while it is dealing effective damage, doesn't have as high of an attack stat from the Wormadam as it does from the Shadow Scizor. So Altaria, able to get a lot of great farm, will be able to safely take another move from this Wormadam, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Letting that.
Yeah, very nice undercharge on the Sky attack as well, knowing full well they will reach the Iron Head basically regardless. However, it doesn't really do that much. We can just tank it, and the bug bites aren't pressuring us anyways, so
We'll
just
throw
get that
up a
extra
shield.
energy.
Yeah, we'll throw up a shield to protect against this Miltank because, as mentioned earlier, Miltank has access to Ice Beam, which could greatly threaten this Altaria and all the energy that it's developed. Throws the
Exactly. We see that he is at 2 sky attacks now, which can absolutely shred into Mason's lineup, as it's not that attack weighted amount, of course. Altaria is quite tanky, but sky attack is a very good move. And with only one real Pokemon remaining, and the Miltank gone, the Wormadam almost gone, it could be quite bad to no-shield one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So we do see this as a Hex Jellicent now on Magic Mason's side, and Valizio does a great catch on the Greedent of what I can only assume is a Shadow Ball. Oh goodness.
That is just way too nasty. There is basically no way for Mason to retaliate from this. This might be a Bubble Beam, however, I don't even think it would KO the Greedent, as both these Pokemon are quite bulky. Oh, it's a Shadow Ball. That will
throw the
KO.
second Shadow Ball, yeah, and now is left in this matchup with Walrein. With Magic Mason still has the potential of their own sack swap available as well, because all Walrein can do is keep throwing these Earthquakes.
Oh, and does correctly shield up the first one. However, the Walrein isn't quite in Shadow Ball range, so knowing that, Vitalizio decides here to no-shield.
We'll be able to take the first one very comfortably, can also take these hexes pretty well, and we'll be able to get to the Earthquake. Magic Mason tries to do a nice sack swap there, but Delizio correctly maintains their energy, does not throw, and now can land this Earthquake safely against the Jellicent.
Yeah, it's quite hard to catch a move with a 3-turn fast move against a 2-turn fast move, as most of the time the 2-turn fast move user will simply throw after 1, 4, or 7 fast moves, and therefore just throw 2 turns after you started your move. So there's basically no shot that you would be able to wait for 2 turns and catch a move.
Sometimes you just gotta try, but
it was the only win con left.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes it's all you can do, and you hope that it works. But unfortunately, in that game, we're not able to pull it off. So we see now the Volt Switch, Galvantula from Vitalizio against the Miltank on Magic Mason's side. Now we have again this normal matchup, 2 tacklers going at one another, throwing all the body spam they can.
Yeah, what is also quite interesting
I meant to say spam there.
What is also quite interesting is that we see Thunderbolt on the Miltank, so perhaps would rather be better prepared for that Walrein than for the Altaria, as the neutral body slams with the tackle still do enough against it. And what I'm quite curious about is we see the Mew in this match, so I'm really curious about the Mew set here.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see, because now that we've seen, again, one divergent moveset, I'm very excited to see someone else break the mold and scare off some of these water types. Greedent able to get to quite a few body slams and get the Miltank out of the way here, all shields still in play. This Greedent has quite a bit of energy, but whoever comes in, well, no. You come in with a Mew! My goodness.
Oh, knowing that these tackles, they might be chunking a bit, but it's not too terrible. And with how much energy Shadow Claw generates and with how little damage it does to Greedent, this Mew could absolutely run rampant no matter what comes in. And we see a slight deviation from the standard moveset of Surf Wild Charge that you usually see in Open Great League, for example, in running Dragon Claw rather than the Surf.
Magic Mason catches the lunge on the Altaria, which does not fear that bug type damage and will still be able to chunk with a debuffed Dragon Breath.
Yeah, Golf taking that basically free energy there, knowing full well the Walrein will just be able to farm down after and soak the energy, especially with that debuff on the Altaria. As we see, the Sky Attack barely doing roughly 30%.
No damage.
Absolutely not a threat.
And we'll be able to get quite some nice farm onto this Walrein as well. So now the Walrein is loaded, the Galv is loaded, and this Mew has very little room to run.
Yeah, with only 1 shield left, I don't think the Mew will be able to wiggle its way out of this. Oh, does win CMP here, and Vitalizio going for the Earthquake, hoping that Magic Mason will not shield. And even if he does, as you said, there is a lunge loaded on the Galvantula, so this is perhaps even the correct play here, knowing that it either gets the shield or basically KOs the Mew.
Yeah.
Yeah. No win conditions left at that point.
And I think Magic Mason knows it. You know, no matter how much energy you have on that Mew, if you're at the shield disadvantage, the energy disadvantage, there's just not even a lot that little magical Swiss Army knife can do.
Yeah, the super effective lunge would have definitely taken out that Mew as well. Or, like I said before, at least almost take it out and put it into easy farm down range. So yeah, Mason knew that he had to perhaps predict an Icicle Spear and then somehow wiggle his way out there. Oh, that is not a great lead.
You can ask for Magic Mason, who immediately swaps into the cow to threaten this wall rain and try and get it out, you know, at least a little bit lower for the end game there.
Yeah, Felizio going for the Icicle Spear before switching into that tackle mirror match again, knowing that 5 Powder Snows are enough to reach the Icicle Spear, and therefore there is no Body Slam stored on this Miltank yet, meaning he will outpace to the second one.
Yeah, but Greedent able to get to their own Body Slam here, and do you protect, if you're Magic Mason, do you protect any of this energy? Yes, throwing up the first shield on his Miltank.
I think Mason should try to Thunderbolt. Oh, actually, over farms. I think that might be a mistake. Shields again, though.
Now forced to shield again to protect that energy.
Yeah, so Mason probably is going to try to get both shields. However, I could very easily see Vitalizio just let it go. Nope. Vitalizio also deciding to protect that energy. So...
you know what? If you can use your shields, I can use my shields.
Yeah, we'll probably get the second shield here.
Yes, does get the second shield from Vitalizio so that they can throw this last Body Slam, get the cow off the field, and open this whole floor up with no shields in play on either side anymore.
Yes, at this point Vitalizio had to commit to winning switch advantage, especially knowing that wall rain will be aligned to the Altaria, and there is no need for a shield advantage for that matchup really. And with the reveal of Wormadam in the back, this is going to be an absolute breeze for Vitalizio to clear out. I don't really think Magic Mason has any way to climb back out of it.
Yeah, especially with the bug bite damage doing, you know, very, very little to the Altaria, and the Altaria doesn't even have to worry as much about these Iron Heads, can safely over farm, and then we see this horrible matchup once again. You know, Magic Mason was not able to escape out of this bad lead.
Yeah, Miltank, while being a decent safe swap, Vitalizio played it out perfectly with throwing that Icicle Spear before switching out, forcing the Miltank to be down HP or the shield.
Very smart play from Vitalizio, and able to secure this last point for the Italy side.
Not yet. The Wormadam is still alive. The hope is still there. Surely it is going to be able to take down the Altaria.
Altaria has
have the Iron Head story.
Yeah, Altaria has a ton of energy though, and does win the charge move priority here.
Yeah, Wormadam does not have 2 Iron Heads stored to KO the Altaria, and will go down. Oh, does still throw the move? The Hopium is there.
Still fighting, but I don't think from a Wormadam this is not enough. Maybe if this were the Shadow Scissor, we would be a little bit more scared, but Altaria is safely able to secure that last point for Vitalizio.
Yeah, just played down the RPS really well. Like I said, throwing that Icicle Spear was very crucial in keeping switch advantage there. And then also the fact that it was the Wormadam in the back was quite easy to finish off with Altaria.
A very close matchup still. I mean, Magic Mason shows you there that they're very good with dancing around their own energy and their own shields, but sometimes bad matchups just end up as bad matchups, and it happens to the best of us.
Yep, always very hard to climb out.
So we still have some more exciting battles for you. Italy is inching closer to securing their victory, but the U.S. is still out here fighting, and we have Callum coming back on to help with those cast those battles as well.
And also FishOnAHeater. Yes, and there's a fish as well. So Adelian, like we've had a lot of scheduling to deal with at the moment. Adelian is now done for the night. So thank you to all your amazing positive support in chat. I know you're all just gushing over how much you love Adelian. I am here with Callum, and we are going to cover the Asprazelto and Dre Flames battles. I'm keen to finally do some pronunciation. So some Italian pronunciation. Adelian saying I've gone on mute. I don't think that's the case. I should be turning up. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you just fine, so it might just be the stream.
Okay, Kaz says she can hear me. Let me know, chat. Give me some sort of confirmation. Blitzelf says, oh, hang on. No, Kaz is saying, wait. Oh, no. Blitzelf can hear me.
Standing by for technical.
Yeah, this is a mystery. Can I be heard or not?
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
No, we've done that before. That's a mess.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, I'm getting no confirmation, which is very worrying. I think there's some hiccups, but coming through mostly okay. Okay, DJ Power can hear. Okay, we are gonna power through then. So,
well, hey.
Asprazelto with Dre Flames. We see on Asprazelto's side a Shadow Gyarados, which we have not seen yet. What are your thoughts on Shadow Gyarados in this meta?
Well, when we were first testing it out, I think it was one of the other meta team was very certain that it would see a lot of play. I haven't seen it too much, but it has probably the most threatening, despite being non-stab, one of the most threatening fast move pressures in the game, with that incredibly high attack stat and being Shadow. The thing I'm most excited for is that Charger bug. It's probably one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. I love its walk animation in the game, and I'm really excited to see it play out. It's what I recommended on Chatting Shit for Naiad, and I've seen moderate success with it. It's definitely bulkier than you expect it to be. It's about similar to a Milotic level, but this is probably one of the spiciest teams I'd say I've seen in Naiad in quite a while, with Charger Bug, Celio, which isn't used too often, and the Shadow Gyarados. So very excited to see how this plays out.
I do like Celio because it gives a lot of the same kind of wins that Walrein will give, but also beats Walrein pretty comfortably as well. So yeah, let's take a look at the set. We are currently 18-12 Italy's way. The first of 25 will advance towards the final with Brazil, and we have the Walrein versus the Green first up. Now this is a battle of two thick, chunky little Pokemon who are just... Oh, wow, what a catch! The crunch coming through on the Wormadam, which it's not the resisted move. It would be even better if it was the Body Slam that was caught. The crunch, unfortunately, is not the resisted one, so we get a switch straight out into the Deoxys.
Electing to swap the Psychic type into the Bug Bite user here is very interesting play, but these Rock Slides will add up and counter, as we know time and time again, proves to be the best move in the game with that insane pressure, even off a non-stab Pokemon like Deoxys here. Do we see the attempt of a Bug Buzz? Yes, we do. If this goes unshielded, this is guaranteed to kill.
Asprazelto not messing around, going straight for that Bug Buzz, and a last second shield from Dre Flames means that Deoxys will just be able to counter down now. Those Bug Bites are not going to do enough to get them to the next Bug Buzz. So now Dre Flames is one shield down, but has that Deoxys with a lot of energy, brings in the Altaria. Neither of these Pokemon will like seeing a Rock Slide, but the Altaria can tank it probably a little bit better.
Yeah, and is in a prime position for a fairly meaty Dragon Breath down here, but no, we do actually see the second Rock Slide coming into play, probably forcing this first shield. Very interesting from Asprazelto's side that we see a Water Pulse Celio, as I believe Aurora Beam has typically been favoured to get that nuke against on Altaria. So very interesting to see whether that's for hitting the Shadow Scissor neutrally, perhaps. You see the Sky attack coming in here. And they do a decent-ish chunk, but this is a very fat squirrel, as proven in previous games.
Yeah, so we're setting up an endgame situation with a Celio versus Sizor there, which I don't think is going to be particularly favorable for Celio, but with the Water Pulse and that extra bulk, getting up a little bit of energy first before KOing the Greedent with the Body Slam, so that'll kind of set it up. It'll already have enough energy for another Body Slam against whatever comes in next, which is probably going to be that Celio. But as we said, you want to throw the Water Pulse there rather than the Body Slams unless you're looking for a bait.
The switch timer is coming up close, so we could even perhaps see an attempt at a catch if this Body Slam bait is successfully shielded. And we do see it grab the shield here. Very interesting play. Perhaps assuming that they can farm all the way down. Do we see an attempt of a catch on the Deoxys on the Water Pulse? No. We see the CMP tie with the Night Slash.
Yeah, so go for that CMP tie, and Asperzeltor is shielding that Night Slash. How much energy does that thing have? We do see the attempted catch, but not quite there. So now the Celio has to farm down the Deoxys. Doesn't happen. Throws the Psycho Boost, KOs that Celio. And
yeah, Asperzelto stuck between a rock and a hard place there with, if they threw, then the the Scissor had plenty of energy left to throw back at it, and if it didn't throw, then obviously we saw it just got counted down. So very well played by Dreyflames there.
Yeah, Dreyflames securing that one, earning back a point for the USA, who are now on 13 to Italy's 18. So 5 points behind is not the worst situation in the world. I have seen some teams come back from pretty dire situations in the past. We saw some heavy Celio play on Asperzeltor's side. I'm hoping to see a little bit more spicy usage with the Charger Bug or the Gyarados if possible. But do you see much use for the Gyarados here?
Well, I mean, having the resistance on that Bullet Punch is very useful. And Aqua Tail, despite being not that strong coming off a Shadow Gyarados, it was definitely going to be powerful. Tough lead here once again. That's so right into the Charger Bug. Oh, I can't wait to see what this does.
Looks like it's just a Psycho Boost and Dip play. The shield is not going up on Charger Bug's side. It is a little tanky bug, so it takes that like a champ. And now the Greedent coming out. Now with the health already chipped away on the Charger Bug's side, it's going to be a lot easier for this Greedent to secure the switch advantage here.
Yeah, correct play going for the discharge here. It's just slightly better damage for energy with X's. It's just been quite a terrible move here. Gonna pressure some Greedent for some decent damage, but unfortunately not enough to grab a shield right here. We could potentially see a double up into Body Slam just before good counting from Dreyflames.
Yeah, so the Greedent is now going to KO that Charger Bug. Asperzeltor is not willing to keep it around any longer, especially since there is another Body Slam already ready on that Greedent. So now we get the crunch onto the Celio, looking to get that debuff. I'm often a person who likes to throw a crunch first just to try and earn that debuff to set things up a little bit better for those tackles and Body Slams later in the matchup. So that is what Dreyflames has done. Now we get the Powder Snow down from the Celio, coming out with a whole bunch of energy. The Deoxys isn't going to care too much about that energy, but then maybe after a few Body Slams, it might be like, hey, can you stop that now?
Yeah, it could be put into the Dragon Breath down range, which could be problematic for Scissor if we're able to get quite a few Sky attacks stacked up. I think good recognition from Asperzelto to come in and try and get as much farm as possible to potentially Water Pulse for Scissor if it chooses to come back in, or alternatively all these Body Slams that we're seeing being thrown against the Deoxys here.
Another Body Slam going to come in, and now it's within one Body Slam range. The Altaria is going to soak up this Rock Slide damage. The Deoxys cannot build up that extra energy like it wanted to. Now Dreyflames is going to switch it out so Deoxys can be there as like a third shield situation. The Sizor will come in, build up enough for an Iron Head, and then some. Neither trainer wanting to throw a charge move. You know you don't have to do that sometimes in a battle, right, guys? The Iron Head is now going to hit, and it's going to be unshielded. Unshielded by the Altaria. That is huge. with one shield left on Asperzelto's side, wanting to maintain that and not wanting to give it up at that point, and that is a huge advantage now for Drake Flames.
Asperzelto recognizing straight away that the game was already over, so no needing to shield and stall it out. Very unfortunate, as I'm obviously rooting for our Charger Bug comrade, but very, very well blamed once again from Drake Flames.
Well, we have one more battle where the Charger Bug could come out. I want to see that Shadow Gyarados in play as well. I mean, especially if it's like a Dragon Tail Gyarados as well, that elite TM'd fast move of Dragon Tail.
Yeah, it might. I'm not too certain on how good of a matchup it has into Altaria, but I imagine it hopefully wins the twos with the super effective, but the non-stab might mean that Altaria outboxed it. But we do see the Wormadam here with the Bug Bite nowhere near as good against Altaria as you'd like it, really wanting confusion if you're going to get it up against an Altaria, but forced to stay here due to having a Charge Bug in the back, which does unfortunately struggle greatly with the Altaria. We see a Sky Attack coming in here, goes unshielded, does decent chip damage.
And now Asperzelto are bringing in their own Altaria. Because that Altaria on Drake Flames' side has already been chipped away, it can win the race of the fast move damage. Now, Asperzelto does have to burn a shield to maintain that because the Altaria on Drake Flames' side did have that energy lead. So, a few different dynamics in play. Now we see the switch in of the Greedent, which Tanky Bird against Tanky Squirrel. This battle could take a little bit of time.
Does elect to shield the Sky Attack. Potentially a good call from Asperzelto there, not having the Moonblast shielded, because you could fish for the debuff there. So perhaps G-Flames recognizing that Greedent's bulk is going to be very helpful here and wanting to keep it as healthy as possible. Body Slam coming through, somewhat in danger of a tackle down from here, but the Dragon Breath will still add up onto the Greedent and put some pressure back. And we see the Sky Attack come through. Takes it down to around half health, but yeah, we would likely see a full tackle all the way down here. But no, we see a swap from Asperzelto into the Charger Bug. I believe the Body Slams aren't going to do too much here. We'll just put it comfortably in the green still.
Yeah, no, the Body Slam did a little more than what I thought it would, and that Greedent has a lot of energy to spare, so it's just throwing another one straight away. That Charger Bug is trying to spark up as much of that damage as it possibly can, and now the Altaria comes back in and is like, oh, hello, friend. The Charger Bug.
Oh, I was wondering if we'd potentially see an X as a bait.
Oh, yeah, an X as a bait would have been hype as, but the Altaria is calling it, and now it will go down to another spark. Charger Bug takes its victim.
Charger Bug hype in chat.
Alright, so now Wormadam comes back out, and so the only the Body Slam coming out from the Greedent, so that's not going to KO. So obviously Drake Flames knowing that, oh wow, that we get the shield from Asperzelto. So I mean, those one-turn moves are so hard to count. It's a mistake that I probably would have made as well. Asperzelto not wanting to risk that was a crunch, and so throwing up that shield. Now the Bug Buzz is going to take out about 2/3 of the Deoxys' HP and the defense drop as well. Try to get a catch, but not quite happening. So now the Deoxys will finish this off, even though the defense was dropped. Those Bug Bites could not do enough. Drake Flames did the right thing by trying to, Asperzelto did the right thing by trying to catch at the last second, but it did not pay off.
Yeah, perhaps was the right play after all to shield that Body Slam, as if that Body Slam went unshielded, they likely would have been able to counter down with Deoxys there. So perhaps not as much of a mistake as we first thought.
Yeah, for sure. Was that Battle 3? I think that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Alright, so let's move on to set number 12 for today, which is Leonardo versus Panic 23. Two top level battlers, I think. I believe we were talking about Leonardo's been #1 in the world at one point. I think Panic's been #1 as well. Or I might be getting confused with Rise. I'm sure Panic's been #1 at some stage.
I think Rise has, Panic might have been 3, I believe, at one point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Panic's good.
Yeah, Panic's fantastic.
So, Panic is using the Mew, which I don't think we've seen too much Mew action so far.
Yeah, I mean, constantly seeing the same set of Dragon Claw Wild Charge. I remember some early discussion of some people talking about Rock Slide as a potential nuke for suspecting bug types, and still hitting Altaria super effective. But Wild Charge is just so fantastic for all the wall rains that we keep on seeing, and is a great neutral nuke against stuff like Sizzle, which easily folds to it. So we could potentially see it come out against C. Leonardo, but I'm not too sure. Every 60 seconds a minute passes, but every 60 seconds in Gymbreakers, we see a Night Slash boost off these Shadow Sizzles. So Mew could be a very...
Only on the Italian side, though. Alright, so Altaria versus Deoxys, and with shields up, this is in favor of the Altaria. It is a little more of an end game situation for Deoxys to handle, but the Deoxys is not panicking just yet, throwing a Rock Slide before maybe dipping out, maybe getting some chip there. I mean, that's a heavy amount of damage. The Altaria also not panicking, now finally throwing its first Sky Attack, and is already halfway towards the second one.
Yeah, this should take Deoxys into the early red, and yeah, just takes it right there. And we see... Oh, does a Psycho Boost kill from here? I think it's slightly shy,
Yeah,
so we may see it swap out after this.
Wow, and what a no shield from C. Leonardo's side. So now the Greedent is going to try and come in and tackle down. It's going to take this Sky Attack damage, which I think is what Panic was intending to do. And now we get the counter Squirrel coming in on C. Leonardo's side.
Yeah, this is quite helpful, especially with that huge health deficit C. Leonardo's in the driving seat. And is that Shadow Sizzle I see in the back?
That is indeed a Shadow Sizzle.
Shields up against the Altaria. Any boost is absolutely game-changing here, or even with Greedent getting a crunch debuff on the incoming Altaria after this mirror match. But C. Leonardo actually choosing to let these body slams go, perhaps not wanting to give up shield advantage, yet, and we see once again another body slam from C. Leonardo. This could be put into tackle down range. I'm not quite sure on the energy of Panic there. Yeah, definitely.
So the Greedent on Leonardo's side coming out with almost a body slam. Now the Deoxys is easily within body slam range, and we see that body slam. So the Deoxys is the one taking that damage just so that it clears the way for Altaria in the back, and we're going to see a bit of a showdown between the Sizor and the Altaria now.
Well, actually, this perhaps isn't as good as I first thought, because those Dragon Breaths really do add up, and Bullet Punch, also is a fairly solid move, is nowhere near as damage weighted as Dragon Breath, but here we see the Italian famous boost. Do we get one?
The Italian boost. The Italian boost is not showing up at the moment, and that Dragon Breath, you can see how much that's adding up, so Altaria is winning this race at the moment. C. Leonardo not going for the boost initially, building up to 2 Night Slashes before that first one, and we see it unshielded, but unfortunately the Sizor going down. Now there are 2 Pokemon left here, and the first one comes out to chip away a little bit. Tackle is gonna come out and finish off the Altaria on the other side. C. Leonardo playing that wonderfully.
Yeah, recognizing not to throw the second Night Slash there and just go for the fast move pressure was very clever. I think C. Leonardo perhaps waited so long to not throw the Night Slash on his first time, perhaps even though he could have got the boost chance by throwing earlier, perhaps recognizing that the fast move down was in fact his win condition, so a very high level recognition there.
Yeah, and that's a tough call to make, because I personally would be thinking in that situation, I mean, I just need a boost. Yeah. So now we have a rematch. Rematch coming in. The Sizor wants revenge and is going to try and take it out on this Altaria. We'll see how long this matchup lasts. See if we get the full farm down on one side, or the Night Slash down, or Dragon Breath, or if one person will switch out into one of the other Pokemon before that can happen.
Good timing from Panic just before C. Leonardo gets into his second Night Slash, and timing it well so that C. Leonardo isn't able to go for a catch. We do see a shield, obviously recognizing that Shadow Sizzle could be useful in the end game. We may see a shield for shield match, or perhaps Panic will just take the shield advantage and come in for something to farm down the Sizzle as he elects to no shield.
Yeah, Panic seems to be happy just having gotten a shield from C. Leonardo. Now we'll have to invest one back, but we might even see a Bullet Punch farm down here, which on a Shadow Sizor is pretty darn handy. C. Leonardo recognizing that and not wanting that to happen, so bringing in the Greedent.
Oh, I mean, Greedent is so tanky that this isn't too bad of a matchup, but likely didn't want to bring in that Deoxys because of the completely stacked energy from Panic's side. So happy to just completely no shield this and use Greedent as an energy sponge, and perhaps hopefully get a counter down. So Deoxys here.
See
But we see
Leonardo
the body
drawing
slam
a
from-
shield with the body slam. Will Leonardo be able to get to another move though? What a catch! Panic counting those tackles like no one's business, managing to score an amazing catch, holding onto that Sizor, which can absolutely do some work in the late game.
That's very impressive. Well, we do. It's difficult because the crunch will pressure the Deoxys, but a counter down here could be absolutely huge for C. Leonardo. Do you remember how much energy was on the Shadow Sizzle from Panic's end before it swapped out?
Not a huge amount. I don't remember if there was a Night/Ready or not. We'll see when it comes back out. We see one crunch is enough to take out more than half of the remaining HP. That Deoxys is doing as much damage as it can before finally taking this thing out with a Psycho Boost.
Likely gonna see a Rock Slide onto the Shadow Sizzle from it. Oh no, resets the debuff. Very good play.
Yeah.
Just in case it wouldn't kill. And see the Night Slash come through, but C. Leonardo has a shield, and CMP will be the end of this game.
Yeah, that Rock Slide is... Oh, and there's that boost!
Oh, an unnecessary boost. Poor USA. Only get it when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, C. Leonardo is going to take that one and put Italy within 5 points of taking out the matchup. Well done to C. Leonardo. Dominant performance against Panic.
Wow, that was completely stunning. C. Leonardo putting on a fantastic performance there. Very entertaining.
Alright, so I've got good news. Oh, is there one more battle? No, hang on, there's 35. We've done 35 at the moment, so there should be one more? Or did I miss a point? I'm losing my mind here. Okay, so
No.
we do have one more battle. The dominance may continue for one of these trainers. Let's see how it pans out. We have the Deoxys lead again on Panic's side, and going up to a Rock Slide, throwing that one, which will take a big chunk of health out of that Altaria. We'll see if C. Leonardo feels like they need the Altaria to be at full health. They don't, so they build up a lot, and once again, building up to 1.5 sky attacks before throwing the first.
As you mentioned previously, this is a great matchup for Altaria. Up shields. We've seen Panic previously in the last game. Completely happy to give up switch. Perhaps after losing that in such a close game, he maybe takes approach it differently and attempts to win switch here, which he does with the lead with that second Rock Slide coming through. And now C. Leonardo recognizes he can get a nice Shadow Sizzle farm down, and it's what we keep seeing. Sizzle with energy, Sizzle with shields. It's going to put in a lot of nice work here. Straight for the Night Slash instead of the Ironhead nuke. Perhaps just wanting to fish for any damage, but he can.
And no boost happening on C. Leonardo's side, so the Sizor will continue just plugging away at the Altaria, trying to get those bullet punches in before Panic decides to throw that Sky Attack on the Altaria. The Sky Attack coming now, and C. Leonardo's not done with their Sizor yet, so building up a little more energy, and finally throwing a Night Slash. This will be enough to KO the Altaria, unless Panic decides to shield. We'll see what C. Leonardo does to address this situation. Throws another Night Slash, which is soaked up by the greed, and it just bounces off that little adorable little tummy. And
great catch once again from Panic, but this perhaps isn't as good as it seems from the fact that Greedent is now stuck with a very, very slight energy advantage, but a huge health deficit, and the Altaria in the back is looking a bit worse for wear. So is this already a game over, or could we see a great play from Panic to get an advantage in the Dragon Breath down here?
We'll see how it pans out. We see the final shield from Panic's side, and he is just preserving as much of that green as possible. We do have one shield left on C. Leonardo's side. Is it going to come out now? It does.
And the returning shield from C. Leonardo. This is looking...
Yeah, so it's looking
really
like Leonardo's in the lead. Waiting for that catch, though, and it does not happen, so Panic's going to lose that green. And now we've got that final Pokemon left on Panic's side. which was the
Altaria will
Altaria.
be forced to throw if it gets to a move, but unfortunately the squirrel gets there just in time. Wow, Leonardo handled this game absolutely beautifully.
Well done to see Leonardo. It's now 21-15, so they were only 4 points away from the team victory. Now, the good news that I teased before is that Final Boss AJ is back. Because I was casting, I didn't have time to set it up in the background, so it's I'm gonna go to this screen here and set that up. We'll be back in just a second.
Good, just make them wait. Just make them wait a little bit longer for me to come back.
Please.
Yeah, good things come to those who wait.
No, I know everyone missed me.
Let's come to those who wait.
Hell yeah, Michael.
What's up, Ilya?
Hello.
AJ!
Y'all miss me? I'm back. I have taken care of business, much like Italy is taking care of business against the Americans so far. 21-15, heading into set 13. And Scafo with that hidden Como is coming back into action against Polymer is up. And Kaz, contain yourself. I know Polymer is up is a local for you. So in your pure unbiased opinion,
try not to be biased at all. I mean, Scavo has some really nice spice in that Como. Although, if I remember from earlier, it might be the evolution. I'm not sure. It's one of them. It's one of the dragons.
Como is the evolution, Kaz.
Okay, yeah.
The screen is currently showing Hakumo, which I did use a fair amount of in Nyan, but no, Como on Scafo's side has the access to that close combat. Which is going to have to do a lot of work, because no wall for Scafo, so that Altaria is a little freer. That's a very neutral matchup against Como that it has.
I definitely see Polymers Up using that Altaria as a safe swap. I mean, it doesn't have any super hard counters. You have the possibility of the Ice Beam with the Miltank. You have Dragon Claw spam on the Mew over on Scafo's side. But other than that, I mean, and even that can be worked around, you know, with the right timing management and the right energy management. So I definitely see the Altaria coming up from Polymer's side. I mean, we've talked about this a lot, like the Altaria Jellicent core is really, really strong in this cup. I mean, we've got two normals over on Scafo's side. Again, the Miltank is a wild card. Could go either way with that, so we got to find out what it has. I'm excited to do so. Also, you know, maybe we have the possibility of an alternate Mew moveset. You know, we'll just have to see how it goes.
See, everyone's been pretty much lockstep on these movesets. We have Altaria into defense Deoxys, and Palmer's up wants no part of that, immediately swapping to Greedent, while we see Scafo running that double normal backline of Greedent and Miltank. That has been a popular option in Nyan. Altaria launching the first attack with the Aero Attacco, the Sky Attack, getting shielded by the Greedent. And now we go into the... This is what I came back for, right? This is exactly what I came back for, this mirror.
This is what you've been missing. You were like, oh man, I'm missing so many good Greedent mirrors.
I can't wait. So much body slam spin, so much corporal punishment that I missed out. And by the way, Callum, I saw the reference in chat. I appreciate it. But the corpus contro in Italian, connecting on Palmer's Up's Greedent, trying to get more of these body slams off here, trying to do as much damage to the opposing Galarian Squirrel as possible. But Scafo's
gonna be able to get to another one and won't
but mid-timing there.
Yeah,
I think Palmer's... That's a little bit of greed there from Palmer's Up, not throwing that body slam, and instead has to let that energy go. Defense Deoxys gets a little bit of a running start for that Altaria, and this is actually tough for Scafo because Defense Deoxys with energy can threaten the shields on the Cotton Bird, but it will come out in anyway to try and take on this invader from the stars.
Yeah, and we do see a Miltank waiting in the back on Scafo's side. We do not know what the moveset exactly is on that yet. We do see a Psycho Boost bait, so I suspect that they're going to swap right out into their Wormadam. This Wormadam also running that Bug Bite fast move, so not able to really put any fast move pressure on the Altaria, but will be able to chip away with some of those Iron Heads.
True, and the Dragon Breaths are resisted, so both sides doing minimal damage in this matchup. This is a battle of wills, and this Altaria is willing the wind to do its work with these sky attacks, landing on the Wormadam trash. No shields coming from Palmer's Up, content to let Wormadam take the brunt of the punishment here, and here comes an Iron Head. No shield, Kaz, as Altaria's gonna go down.
This will get rid of that Altaria, so now Scaffold only has the Miltank left, but that Deoxys over on Palmer's upside still has quite a bit of health, and the counters are gonna start adding up.
Yeah, but we do see Tackle Miltank, so it does actually have some fast move pressure against this defense Deoxys, and getting out to these body slams as well. Not as spammy as Greedent. And no shield from Palmer's Up, gonna take it, gonna rely on the boosted the movesets here, since there was that swap out. This Rock Slide goes unshielded by Scafo 99, and it will do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. So even for a tanky move, a tanky mon like Deoxys, like it just did not have enough health in that matchup to get all the energy off that it needed. I mean, we saw Rock Slide do absolutely minimal damage to that tanky cow. If you do throw that Psycho Boost, then you're just debuffing yourself, and it's the only mon you have left. You really didn't have any options left there.
No, and you have to look back at that lost body slam on the Greedent and think that was it. It was going to be tough for Palmer's to come back from that, and second verse, same as the first here. Altaria into DD, this time Palmer's Up staying in for a bit against the Altaria.
I think you just gotta start. I mean, I know this is not a great matchup for Deoxys, but the fact that you have the Rock Slides, you can just start throwing those as much as possible. But we do see Scafo swap into their Greedent, utilizing that same Swaif swap as before.
Yeah, and Palmer's Up seems content to just throw this Psycho Boost and get the heck out of there. Maybe trying to put the repeat move line back in. Scafo closing the app, just content to have that little extra flex there. Gets the body slam off on an excellent, no harm, no foul, but almost disaster for the Italian side as another body slam comes out from the Squirrel, trying to take this Altaria down into a range that maybe the opposing Cotton Bird can handle.
But the Altaria does not really fear the body slams. Will have to give up. Oh no, Altaria has the charge move priority event to throw off this first Sky Attack and get Greedent off the field, and we'll probably be able to get to another Sky Attack against whatever comes in.
Yeah, and that Altaria not able to Dragon Breath down in time. Palmer's up, going to get the Sky Attack off here and try and force a shield. Does force the shield on the opposing Altaria. And you have to like this situation for Palmer's up. He brought the exact same lineup back. But look in the back there, Kaz. Defense Deoxys does not want to see Wormadam trash with Bug Bite. So Palmer's up, going to throw this Rock Slide, try and get the Altaria even closer to defeat, trying to clear that path for the Bug Steel type in the back. And Deoxys reaching for the Psycho Boost. Love this play from Palmer's up.
He's got to force that last shield to give Wormadam a chance in the end game. And I think he knows it now.
Yeah. Wormadam trash coming in, and Scafo sees the bad news. Altaria trying to do whatever it can against this Wormadam trash's first Sky Attack. Is shielded by Palmer's up, protecting the health, maybe sensing that this Wormadam is a winner. Altaria trying to do as much damage as possible, but it is running out of time, and that defense Deoxys is gonna have to face the music here soon.
Thankfully, Wormadam, being the same metal, steel, bug typing as Scizor, is a lot tankier than Scizor, and was able to successfully take one of those Sky Attacks from Altaria, without much fuss, and gets off the powerful Bug Buzz
and
there.
the debuff on the Bug Buzz. This Deoxys clinging by a thread, trying to knock this Wormadam out with the Rock Slide. The Frana is weathered by Wormadam. One counter does the job, but Defense Deoxys coming in, dispatching its mirror counterpart. And it's a race to get to this move, and Altaria just doesn't have the health to survive. Palmer's up, pulling back a vital point for the American side with that Defense Deoxys Wormadam combo play in the back. And is this a sign, Kaz, that the RNG gods are shifting their favor? That Bug Buzz debuff so huge in that endgame for Palmer's up.
Have the Americans gotten the memo? have they made the proper sacrifices?
I don't know. I didn't see what happened during the sets I was away, so I have to hope.
And we do see a Greedent on Deoxys rematch here. I mean, the counters do add up, but Deoxys, Deoxys can't take these crunches.
No, and we see Scafo reaching for the Psycho Boost early here. Not a fan of this matchup, throwing just before the Greedent got to the crunch and able to get Como some action here, threatening that close combat against the Greedent. Greedent just going to try and chip away here with some corporal punishment, and Como not as tanky.
Yeah, not as tanky, and the fighting types, while they can deal out the super effective damage on normals, they don't actually resist normal type moves, so the body slam damage does add up.
Yeah, and no hesitation here from Palmer's up. Altaria takes the field, trying to Dragon Breath down this Como, but cannot get it down before Dragon Claw comes out. Easy shield for Palmer's up, not wanting to take the harder hitting Dragon Claw on the Altaria.
I will give up that first shield to protect from that stab damage. And now Altaria's in a pretty strong position with extra energy for the Deoxys that comes back in, while Scafo maintains their own Altaria still in the back. But that Altaria on Scafo's side is not going to like the Jellicent that Palmer's up has brought out to counter.
We don't know the moves. Well, I don't know the moveset. This might be Palmer's up's second battle. But Deoxys is going to try and erase Altaria here with this Rock Slide. It may be all up to that Jellicent in the back. Palmer's up does throw the shield, though, protecting the Altaria from the Rock Slide, wanting to get the Sky Attack off. And there's the shield from Scafo, maybe thinking that Wormadam trash is still lurking in the back.
Exactly, yeah, they've both thrown up both protect shields, and now Jellicent comes in, and we do see that this is an Ice Beam Shadow Ball Jellicent. With all shields out of play, this thing is a massive danger to Scafo's remaining Pokemon.
Yeah, Hex is super effective against Deoxys, and now Altaria behind on energy, and this Jellicent is going to harness the frozen power to beam this Altaria into the red instantly. And now Scafo's got to try and hurry here, try and find the energy. to get rid of this Jellicent. Will a Sky Attack be enough here, Kaz?
I think this is just gonna barely be enough where Jellicent is. I mean, I know it's thick, but
No,
just
it survives!
1 HP!
It survives, but the overtap from Polymer is up!
Oh, but doesn't throw the move!
I mean, Altaria able to farm down here, but this Deox is going to be reaching for that Rock Slide and finds it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Kaz. That seems like it's going to go to the judges because Polymer is up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened on that one.
Yeah, that one seemed really... Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like Polymer's Up was not moving when they should have been tapping on the ice speed. So I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I know we don't have a dispute from it. So we get yet another point for the Italians.
That is amazing. That should have been game there for Polymer's Up. A vital misstep there puts the Italians on the doorstep of clinching a final spot here, Kaz. And the Americans have a stacked team, but we saw Spain try and do this against Brazil, and when there's so many good battlers here, it's just tough to make up such a deficit.
Exactly. I mean, we saw some points come through for the Americans, but yeah, the Italians have just been very dominant in their matchups, really overpowering with the boosts, especially, as we've all seen. But also just sort of the energy management from their side, you know, those fast swaps, those tackle downs, just those little bits of energy management can be incredibly vital.
Yeah, and we can see in chat they're saying that Polymer's Up didn't want to give the DD the farm. I still think you had to force the DD to either debuff itself to get rid of the jelly or make the move there. I don't know. I'm not a high level player, so what do I know?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
We've got our next two battlers here, and we have seen both these teams before, so we have some ideas about how they might play it out. But what kind of matchups are you seeing here, AJ?
I mean, I haven't seen these teams before, so I have no idea what's going on because I have a day job. But yeah, Vitalizio, sorry, gotta get the I in there. Vitalizio 2 bringing that Galvantula, hopefully on Volt Switch. Hopefully he remembered to TM his Galvantula from Electric Cup. That Galvantula looks really good and offers a threat to that Shadow Scizor if Panic 23 is going to rely on that to break up that Altaria Walrein Greedent line. The Volt Switches hit basically everything on Panic's team for at least neutral damage. And the lunge, obviously, Defense Deoxys doesn't care for it. Shadow Scizor gets all the shields because you drop them at the altar of the red bug. And that Galvantula, I think, has a lot of play. Could very easily clinch this match for the Italians if Panic 23 isn't ready for it and isn't prepared with a counter strategy.
Yeah, if Panic's Altaria is not scared away by the Walrein, which has a lot of great counters on Panic's team, their Altaria can really come through and sweep. So let's get into these and see how Galvantula comes out to play. If Galvantula comes out to play, and I don't doubt we're gonna see the Scizor.
Yeah, we do see that Galvantula in the back for Vitalizio 2, but instead it's Altaria against Defense Deoxys in the lead. A popular matchup today between these two countries, and Deoxys is gonna fire first with these rock slides, trying to bury the Altaria before it can really get up to speed.
I mean, if you don't take shields into account, you still need 2, possibly 3 rock slides to get rid of the burb with Deoxys. And we see no shield on Deoxys from
Deoxys not really having to worry about shielding here. Gonna try and play out the 0 shields in this opening matchup, and Vitalizio does shield the Altaria, wanting the alignment there, making sure the Galvantula is in a good position after seeing this Defense Deoxys lead, and Panic's gonna swap out, keeping the Deoxys alive for a potential sack swap here, getting Greedent in to get an energy lead with those tackles.
And Greedent will shield this first Sky Attack, wanting to maintain some health on the tanky squirrel so that it can let the spam reign in this very familiar mirror matchup that we see here on the screens in front of us, but we see Panic throwing the Crunch, hoping for a debuff.
Mm.
No
Not
defense
getting the RNG gods favor that time. Crunch does not proc, and now these body slams.
We only do night slash boosts here.
How
We don't
dare
do
you?
debuffs.
How dare you ask for Crunch in this night slash meta? No, absolutely not, Squirrel. You need no help. So
Unseemly.
yeah, so this time Panic going for that body slam, gonna get the Greedent in range to go down to another move, but Vitalizio going to reach the body slam first, try and put this Greedent out, and is able to. So Panic gonna come in with something here, hopefully get a little bit of farm on the Greedent. Actually, undercharge kept it alive, and then tried to avoid the Altaria farm down, but Altaria does get the energy, and now Galvantula is in trouble with even shields and down energy here, Kaz.
Yeah, I mean, as much as the Spooter can deal out a lot of great neutral damage against Panic's team, it cannot really handle what this Altaria is dishing out. Even with a lunge debuff here, I mean, Altaria doesn't even if this was a discharge, like Altaria doesn't really have to shield, but Panic will shield just to maintain the health here in case of that sack swap like we were talking earlier, which we do see him, Vitalizio, bring in his own Altaria with the Sky Attack ready. Will not be enough to take out the opposing Altaria though?
No, it is not, and Vitalizio's Altaria is eliminated. Galvantula firing off the Volt Switch, but the Sky Attack is coming, and the Spooter will indeed be squished by the Aero Attacco, and Panic pulls off the win there. Gets up, starts the comeback maybe, Kaz? I don't know. Definitely handled the Galvantula well.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So, Panic called that match really well, leaving their Altaria in the back, going ahead and using that last shield to keep it as healthy as possible. Once they knew that Wall Rain was not a possibility, they knew that Altaria was the win con.
By the way, want to shout out Nico Devang for the raid of 20. Nico, thank you so much for raiding into this semifinal match between Italy and America. Galvantula was on the lead and wanted no part of Altaria, so Vitalizio 2 this time swapping into the green, gonna eat a Sky Attack already from the Dragon Flying type. And once again, it is Greedent on Greedent action. And
you have Squirrel, I have Squirrel. Yeah,
this is my game.
Yeah,
take a drink every time.
Every time there's a mirror match, drink some water, everybody. Stay hydrated.
Exactly. It's just gonna be one slam spam fest as these two squirrels go at it.
That's what Greedent would want for you, is a snack.
Exactly. Don't take any berries from Greedent, but it will give you the little break.
Find your own snacks. And so we do see Panic's Greedent get the opposing Greedent from Vitalizio off the field, and now they're going to still be able to potentially get some spam off against the Altaria.
Yeah, and Vitalizio's Altaria coming in to try and farm down this squirrel, not putting any faith in the spider to be able to survive this onslaught, and Panic going for the crunch, trying to get the debuff. No debuff again! No crunch debuff!
No crunch debuffs in this house. So we do see Panic bring out his Deoxys to start throwing some rock slides against this Altaria, but the Altaria is loaded on energy and is going to start letting these Sky Attacks off. Yeah,
Altaria just content to try and get as much damage on this Deoxys as possible. Here comes the rock slide. Instant shield from Vitalizio 2, maybe thinking the Altaria is the key to victory here, now knowing Panic's line. That Galvantula is still sitting back there. You gotta find some use for it if you're gonna try and pull this out for Italy.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice to shield the Altaria first, knowing that you have that bad matchup waiting for you in the back. And all shields are now off the play, so Deoxys will throw this Psycho Boost and then dip out to the Altaria.
Indeed. And it's a double swap. Galvantula coming in immediately, but is met by the Altaria, and now shields down for Panic.
No, we have Yeah, we have one left shield left for Panic.
Well,
which
now
is-
it's shields down. I'm psychic, Kaz. Come on.
Oh,
It's the
I'm
final
sorry.
shield with the discharge.
Didn't realize
this
we lived in the future.
this Altaria now has a sky attack and a half. This Galvantula has nowhere to hide, no shields to turn to. It is defeated by the sky attack, and now the opposing Altaria trying to maximize the energy here, gets the sky attack off. Is this going to be enough, Kaz?
I think this is just barely enough for Altaria. No,
it is
Altaria
not.
survives and can get off their own sky attack to get the final Altaria from
Yeah.
Vitalizio off
Panic knows minimal bubbles needed. Vitalizio's Altaria goes down, and that is a
Another
2-0 for America. Panic trying to cue the comeback. You're trying to coach Vitalizio into submission here.
It's I think punishing him a bit for not having the Shadow Sizzler on his team.
Yeah, or not putting faith in the wall rain, because like that Altaria has been an absolute menace and is just neutralized the Galvantula for Vitalizio too, but there's the wall rain in the back.
Ask and you shall receive, AJ. We do see a wall ring come in the back from Vitalizio, and it's a good thing that Panic has his Altaria out front to face this Greedent. I mean, this is a pretty neutral matchup. Altaria can take the spam pretty well while dealing out their own significant neutral damage from Sky Attack first. Although they have built up a lot of extra energy, they'll be able to get to another Sky Attack for sure, hopefully getting this squirrel off the field early.
Again, Kaz, my prescient psychic knowledge, this would have made sense like 15 seconds ago, but my prescient psychic knowledge coming through again, sensing the wall rain for Vitalizio, but Greedent draws the Altaria matchup instead, and these tackles gonna add up. Altaria does have to fire the Sky Attack though to get rid of the Greedent and give some farm to that backline for Vitalizio.
I think they know what's coming, and they wanted to give minimal farm to whatever comes in next, hence the late throwing of that Sky Attack. So, 1 Volt Switch comes through from the Galvantula, from Vitalizio, and they are able to get off this lunge early, which is going to debuff the Greedent.
Yeah, and this is what the Spooter needs to survive. The Assalto hitting that green, and then insta-swap into wall rain, drawing out Shadow Scizor, and does Panic pray at the altar of the 2 shield Scizor. We are going to find out. This Night Slash coming through first. Will it get the shield from Vitalizio's wall rain? No, it does not. Wall rain's just here to soak up some energy.
And Walrein has a lot of energy on its own, which will force a shield from Panic to protect that what could become the sacred red bug of the Naiad Cup.
Yeah. Although the second Icicle Spear not getting the shield, Panic more worried about the Earthquake out of this Walrein. The Gelo Lancia is not very effective, but still does a good chunk of damage and completes the farm down of Walrein. And this is dangerous for Vitalizio.
And
I'm back. Little blip. The Galvantula short-circuited my internet for a second. But we see the shields coming up on these Night Slashes, and Greedent now coming in with a Body Slam. It is not debuffed anymore, so this is going to hurt the Spooter. I don't even know if it can weather this, Kaz.
I don't
Barely.
think this is enough.
Barely, but the tackle damage.
A hair.
Tackle damage is enough, and Panic 23, a huge sweep of Vitalizio 2, just sensing that Galvantula was going to be omnipresent and having the tools necessary to deal with it. Very well done by Panic.
Yeah, exactly. Super well played. Super good team calls from Panic there, knowing that they were going to bring that Walrein back onto the field after they had relied so heavily on the Altaria, but getting it in just the right matchups there.
Yeah, and not being able to put that that spider up energy against that Shadow Scizor, I think ultimately cost Vitalizio the shot at pulling the point back, putting Italy in the driver's seat here, because I mean they still need 1 point to force the tiebreaker. They still need 2 points for the win. And it's not going to come easy here. These Americans fighting with every inch of their being, and Kaz, Kaz, I'm
As an
sorry.
American, as an American, I can attest that the struggle is real, and they will put up a fight.
And as a Canadian, we are used to y'all fighting.
It's true. I'm sorry.
We will not be here for the thrilling conclusion to see if the Americans can pull this out. We will turn it over to the lovely and talented Nexus Ilya and FishOnAHeater for the dramatic conclusion of this battle.
Cannot wait to see it.
You heard us.
Le
It
Michael.
was lovely and talented. So I think we'll all agree. Nexus, you can be the talented one. I'll be the lovely one. How about that?
We're like Dumb and Dumber, only with a lovely and talented.
Alright, so Emma Lange versus Polymers up to potentially close out the set. We'll see how we go. Panic just wrangled back an excellent 3-0 for Team USA, which means they are not out of it yet. They're only 4 points behind Italy after all that, but Italy only needs 2 points to win this matchup. Ilya, what are you seeing in these teams?
In these teams, so first of all, we of course have the Boost Con Pokemon, aka Shadow Caesar, on Emma Lang's side, and on Polymer's side, we have the tankier equivalent of it without the boost chance in Wormadam, which, I'm gonna be honest, I think Scissor is much better, especially due to how much play it has, even against the worst matchups. Like, what is super terrible for Wormadam and a Jellicent is very fine for Caesar due to Night Slash, or Altaria, where Bug Bites don't do anything and Bullet Punches do chunk quite a good amount. So the Caesar actually, in general, looks very safe here.
Yeah, I agree. I find there are a couple of matchups where you might like the extra bulk, maybe if you're going in against something like a War Rain, where they both resist the Icicle Spears, but Sizor's not really going to want to take more than one on its own. A Wormadam might be better there, but I feel like in more situations than not, the Sizor is like, step aside, buddy. I got this.
Yeah. Glassy Pokemon do sometimes put quite a lot of pressure, and with how this cup works, that is quite a good synergy with most of the Pokemon, especially looking at that Wall Rain, which could potentially just Earthquake anything besides the Altaria, of course, but you just Icicle Spear very easily after the Caesar takes care of both shields potentially.
Alright, let's check it out. Italy needing 2 points to win. Not a good start, though. The Deoxys is a good counter to that Wall Rain.
It is a Shadow Wall Rain also.
Yes, I don't know why I keep forgetting that Shadow icon, but that's okay. We see now... this is an interesting matchup, because those Night Slashes from the Shadow Sizor do quite a bit to the Deoxys. Take out, I believe, over half of its HP. And we get the boost!
God.
Italy with the boost con! They are...
And they
smashing
CMP.
out. And the CMP as well. It is here, Ilya.
Oh god. Yeah, Polymer's up absolutely has to shield, knowing full well this Night Slash would take out the Deoxys. No matter how bulky you are, at 50% against a boosted Scizor, yes, a super effective Night Slash will take out. Undercharges the Rock Slide beautifully, though, to at least get a slight energy advantage against the incoming Pokemon, which both are very weak to Rock Slide.
So the Deoxys is now going to throw one of those Rock Slides. It's going to be touch and go whether it reaches another Rock Slide. I think the Altaria might have a shot at farming it down. It tanks that first Rock Slide like a champ. Now, Polymer's up is not going to risk it, going to go for that Psycho Boost. However, Emma Lange feeling like they don't want to take that Psycho Boost damage right at this second. So now Polymer's up is going to throw in the Greedent, and it's going to get met by a Sky Attack.
Yeah, so obviously through the Psycho Boost so as to not give as much farm as potentially could have, and switch out, which is quite interesting considering they have the Wormadam in the back, and if it's not Confusion, it is absolutely terrible against the Altaria, as we have seen and talked about before. The Greedent will have quite the neutral matchup against the Wall Rain, easily able to tank one Icicle Spear. However, two of them, or even an Earthquake, would easily take it out.
It's a little bit awkward because the Greedent had a bit too much health left for one Icicle Spear, but not really enough HP to warrant throwing an Earthquake on it. So this looks like a fantastic... Oh, I mean, no, not... I was going to say it looks like a fantastic
That is
result.
actually very close.
That is very close, but it was not close enough to get the KO, which means that the Greedent will get out of Body Slam, has to force that second shield on Emalange's side, and now that Wall Rain has to throw something at something. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, these don't matter until they do. We do
Oh!
see the perfect catch here.
Oh!
We also see Bug Bite, however, so that will make the Altaria a potential sweeper. I'm not quite sure this is gonna be able to, however, especially with Emma staying in here and letting the Wormadam farm down to reach the Iron Heads even faster. I'm pretty sure that the Wormadam will handily take out this Altaria, even if this Iron Head does not KO. Should be able to reach another before 2 Sky attacks come in, or even Bug Bite down.
Just Bug Bite down, yeah. Won't even get to that Iron Head. There
So
it
yeah,
is.
not even close.
Oh, that was hot. I'm so
Hot and
impressed.
steamy.
Yeah, so that's the 4 points in a row now for the Americans. USA. Let's see if they can keep it up. They're now 3 points behind.
America on the big comeback.
Yeah, they are 5 points away from the overall match win, 3 points away from catching up to the Italians, which has not happened at all yet in this tournament. I believe Italy has had the lead for the entire time.
Oh, mirror match lead, which is quite interesting, as it obviously is quite AV dependent, considering who wins CMP gets to throw the charge move first, obviously, and therefore will have an advantage. Emma deciding to not even throw the charge move on CMP and just no shield. So potentially trying to win the 0 shields by going for the Moonblast. No, does bait, which is, in my opinion, a misplay, because there's barely any Pokemon that Polymer can have in the back, even that the Altaria would reach another charge move against. However, the tackle down here is quite nice, especially with Polymer actually hard swapping and therefore not being able to swap and catch any of the moves later on.
So the Greedent is relying on its crunch to do any damage, getting the defense drop, which is pretty handy, but that Wormadam is resisting the tackles and throwing all neutral moves back. Throwing an Iron Head first, which Emalange not shielding. Obviously, the Iron Head will throwing the Iron Head allows it to get to another charge move even quicker. We'll see if we can get the farm down first, though. No, we can't get there, so the Greedent will throw the crunch, and this will absolutely KO, especially after a debuff.
Yeah, Emma being very patient here. Not sure if they could reach multiple body slams and should throw that potentially, or just throw the crunch. But also, with how much damage it has taken from the Wormadam, it doesn't really give the Deoxys too much farm. Like, those 2 counters, they merely mean that the first Rock Slide would be CMP against the Night Slash. But then Caesar still keeps outpacing afterwards.
Well, I mean, with all these shields in hand, they've got like 14 shields apiece at the moment, so I don't think the Caesar will be able to last long enough to make use of it. Was that a boost? Was that a cheeky boost before throwing in the Altaria to take that damage, and a Psycho boost as well? So now those counters are going to be double debuffed against the Caesar. So resetting that attack stat, so now that Deoxys is going to come back in. It's had a half a second rest, and that's enough for it to take the field again.
I feel like the Caesar should be able to reach 3 Night Slashes though, and with the Bullet Punch damage, that should be enough. So it's definitely going to be very close on whether Polymer's Up will be able to reach to the next 2 Psycho boosts. Doesn't. Yep, Emma at the 2 Night Slashes would just win CMP, and therefore winning this matchup unless this counter KOs.
No, and
oh my god, and that's the boost!
That was what, 3 boosts in a battle or something?
Kick them while they are down. Oh my god, what? The salt in the wound is immeasurable.
I'm starting to realize that nothing gives me more joy than seeing a double attack boost.
Excuse me, I think my steak is a bit oversalted here.
Waiter. So with that, Emalange boosting Italy's score to 24. They are now 1 fast move away from winning this matchup, and we have, for this third battle in the set, Altaria into Greedent. Now, this is advantage Altaria. I mean, with shields up in the start of a battle, a lot of matchups are advantage Altaria. This being one of them, it's not going to shield this first move, which is a body slam.
Yeah, Dragon Breath, one of the nastiest fast moves. One-turn move with the stats of confusion. It's absolutely disgusting, and especially on such a bulky Pokemon, but it's like it reaches a good amount of breakpoints just barely, which makes it almost perfect, so to speak. It uses as much bulk as it can possibly get, whilst not wasting any of its attack. And yeah, we see both body slams go through, no shielded, and will win the zero shields as long as Emma decides to no shield this, of course, and play out the zero shield.
So Polymer's opting for the switch advantage here, is going to allow the next Pokemon that comes in to get a little bit of farm, which is the Altaria on Emma Lange's side. We now get the Deoxys in response.
Yeah, the Altaria getting that energy advantage is very dangerous, as this Sky Attack will now come in before the Rock Slide, and will potentially even reach the next Sky Attack before the second Rock Slide.
We'll see if that happens. There's got to be some shields used at some point. We aren't going to have like a reverse 2-shield double flex on both trainers' side. Someone's got to use a shield somewhere. We get the Sucker
Wormadam is not a Pokemon you can fast move down unless you have a Fire type, which in this meta is kind of not really doable. I think Mew with Flame Charge is basically the only one that you even can have. And we see the Bug Steel type down in the end. Will Emma find the boost con again? Or will this match go to Polymer's up?
Well, they are short of their quota of boosts by about 3 this battle, so they are due for one. The first Night Slash is going to... Well, not the first Night Slash. The next Night Slash is going to be shielded by Polymer's up, opting to keep it going for a little bit longer. Finally throwing an Iron Head, and not that far away from another Iron Head. The Night Slash on the Sarza will come through first, but if they want to spend that second shield, then they've got that second Iron Head there.
Yeah, Polymer up a shield can just easily use that up a shield advantage and easily reach the Iron Head. As long as no catch occurs, this match should be in the bag. Just has to be careful and does not fall for it. Or rather, Emma did not correctly predict when Polymers would decide to throw this charge move. The Altaria is still there, however. It's not too healthy, but I think it might be healthy enough to KO the Wormadam still,
healthy enough
as
to kick the
it's too
Deoxys
far
butt.
from the energy. Yeah, had to throw the Sky Attack into the Deoxys here due to Psycho Boost being quite heavily... Oh... Yeah, Psycho Boost would have taken it out, was what I was about to say, but in the end, Altaria, in fact, able to barely farm down the Wormadam before it reaches an Iron Head, closing out the score 25-20 in Italy's favor and getting them through this quite tough matchup against America.
Yeah, that was a really exciting finish, trying to get to that Iron Head before the Wormadam could be farmed down, but unfortunately not quite the case, and that means that Italy will finish off this matchup, take it into the final, the Master Tier Finals against Brazil. We are going to bring back most of the casters. Unfortunately, I did not set my camera up on this page, so you guys take it away.
Oh my god, what a battle. Congrats to Italy making it to the final of this first wave here. This I don't know what you call the combination of Ember and Naiad. The aerial cup because of the redhead. I don't know. But congrats Italy. Very well played by the Americans, but what can you do when the RNG gods continuously accept the offerings to get Shadow Scizor where it needs to go?
Next time that Shadow Scizor is in a meta, we all just need to have enough wine on board to pour out for the gods.
I can tell you, Kaz, the next 2 cups were actually revealed during our stream, no Scizor. It is actually teamless cups on both sides, and Scizor is not allowed. So,
Alright, well, you've had fun, Scizor, but now we put you back away for a while.
yeah, exactly. A lot of self deboosts. If you haven't checked out the Ionic Cup and the Nest Cup, but again, we're focusing on this cup. The Naiad final has been determined in the master bracket. It will be Brazil against Italy 1 week from today on my PvP Academia. So make sure you are following that channel to be able to watch that. This will be a hell of a battle between these two countries, both searching for their first ever trophy in Gymbreakers. So one of these countries is going to break the duck, and the other one will continue to have World Cup jokes made about it. So,
well, if today was any indication, I'm gonna have a heart attack with the amount of boosts we're gonna see from the finals.
Hey, you might be able to get that heart attack a little sooner, Kaz, because on Thursday we actually have the Diamond tier final. This is the second tier bracket, but first tier in our hearts. Mexico against Peru on this channel on Pallet Town PvP on Thursday. And someone who had a 5-1 record against Peru in the group stage as Canada beat Peru. I know the Peruvians want to come out of this with that diamond trophy intact, but Mexico going to be a tough opponent for them on this channel. And of course, all this content being brought to you by Pogo Raids. Make sure you check out Pogo Raids if you want an online tool for hosting or joining raids. Check out Pogo Raiders. They have a fully custom raiding organization tool. They've had it for over a year, over 3,000 raids a day, and over 150,000 members. So you can try out their free raiding tool. And they're also a dedicated community of Pokemon Go players. You can check out their monthly PvP tournaments with cash prizes and find help from some of the best players in the world, along with access to infographics and information about everything upcoming in Pokemon Go, like, the community days that are coming up, or help with that Jirachi quest that's going to take until freaking Go Tour to do. Either way, you can check them out at pogoraiders.gg or on the Discord at discord.gg/pogoraiders. And now we come to the opportunity to plug everything else. I'm going to start with the lovely and talented woman to my right, Hurricane Kaz. Please tell the people where they can find you.
Nowhere. I'm a magical mystery, and I don't believe that the internet is really,
There you go.
What about the book you illustrated?
Oh, well, that has nothing to do with Pogo.
Oh, I mean,
who cares?
Plug
it anyway.
Yeah, plug it.
Plug it anyway.
If you are interested in what I do in real life, I did just have a book come out called Tokyo Rose. You can purchase it on Amazon or at your local bookseller or from the publisher Tuttle Publishing. It's a real-life story based about a Japanese-American woman who was trapped in Japan during World War II. So it's a very exciting story. I loved working on it. Please go buy it and review it if you so choose. But I am also a member, well, not just a member now, I'm the captain of the Queen Bees, and we can be found on Twitter at the Queen Bees.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say, you technically can be reached on Twitter, it's just, you gotta go through the right channels.
Technically, yeah, you gotta go through the right passcode protected system. But that is where you can find me, and I want to know about where I can find more about Fish and Ilya.
I mean, do we have to say where you can find Fish? This is his channel.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Fish wants to plug. I don't know, OCIC stuff maybe?
Yeah, hell
Old
yeah.
news.
Only
Old
if you
news.
watch day 1. Forget about day 2. Didn't happen. They lost the
That's
footage.
all right.
Yeah, you totally didn't hit top 2 and get your travel award. No.
Yeah,
Didn't
no,
happen.
totally.
Yeah, no, I'm happy about that. I didn't mean to undermine it. That's the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
But yeah, we do a whole bunch of stuff here on Pallet Town PvP. It's not just these Gymbreakers streams. We've got a cool weekly format called The Ring, which is a King of the Hill style game. A champion takes on a new challenger. The winner stays on to be the new champ, and you try and get on as long a run as possible. We've also got great breakdowns of each GBL meta, which happen every Tuesday night US time. So for those of you who are playing along at home, tonight is Tuesday night US time. So that's going to be starting in about 3 hours from now. We'll be checking out the Hoenn Cup. That happens every Tuesday night. And yeah, a bunch of streamers doing their GBL sets. And yeah, it's we got a lot of good stuff happening here. Ilya.
I can't wait to hear you talk about Triple Ice and Hoenn.
That was the first thing we were going to mention, yeah.
Exactly.
And Ilya?
Ilya!
I'm quite easy to find. I'm on Twitter under the same name that I am under here. And if you're from Europe, then you can just come to any of the Play Pokemon tournaments, and I'll most definitely be there, either judging or hopefully casting and at one of the future ones. Other than that, I will be at 2 American regionals as well, and hopefully NAIC and Worlds, but those are not guaranteed, of course.
Okay, not the Canadian one. That's fine. That's fine. That's cool.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm so. Look, AJ, I had to look which 2 are actually on consecutive weekends and which don't overlap with European tournaments. And Charlotte and Fort Wayne had exactly that, plus an affordable flight.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But yeah, I'll be at Knoxville this weekend and at Charlotte, so I'll get to meet you next Zillion.
Oh, we'll see you there.
Yes!
There you go. I am not at. Yeah, do I get to do my plugs? I'm hosting this freaking thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Since you asked nicely.
Jeez. God, come on. All the work I do, but ignore that hour. I had to go away. But yeah, if you're not sick of me yet, you can find me on Twitch at FinalBossAJ. I've been streaming a lot more consistently, except this week, because I hate Master League and playing it causes me pain. So I've been on and off with that, but I'll be back on Thursday, Friday with Hoenn Cup action. Again, Triple Ice. It's possible. It'll be really bad against Metachan, but I might run it anyway. And again, you can check me out on these Gymbreakers broadcasts, on other broadcasts. I've done stuff for Mazer. I've done Silph stuff. I'm everywhere. I don't have a life. I don't do other things like cast. Oh well, jeez. A_J_Andrews on Twitter, but I don't do stuff there because Twitter is dumb. Bye.
Excellent.
And thanks, Flat Breaker, for the editing.
No, Twitter is great. It has all the beef.